Chapter 942. When Pudu saw that Jiang Tian didn't dare to fight with Desala, he thought that Jiang Tian was only at the second level of foundation establishment. But when he saw that Jiang Tian could condense a shield to defend against the tree demon's attack, he realized that Jiang Tian's cultivation was most likely at the level of fake core. Thus, he thought that Jiang Tian was on par with the tree demon, or even slightly inferior. Therefore, he thought that he could sneak attack Jiang Tian while the two of them were fighting each other with injuries. But he didn't expect that Jiang Tian's strength was even more terrifying than he thought. At this time, he could no longer guess Jiang Tian's strength. It was as if he couldn't guess how vast the universe was. Brother Jiang is too powerful. Xiaoying Luo was so excited that her face turned red. She raised her arms and shouted. Yi Tianren and the old dragon's worship surged in their hearts, and they couldn't help but kowtow as if they were seeing a god. Big Demon Bai Zhe also widened his eyes. This kid was even more powerful than the Holy Heaven Sect master. From the looks of it, it seems that he is qualified enough to be my master. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Jiang Tian waved his hand and took a green object from the pile of charcoal. He sacrificed it into the sky-devouring demon gourd, then walked over step by step and landed on the ground. Sigh, after all, he hadn't turned into a fire attribute physique, so he couldn't use the great sun furnace smoothly. Otherwise, if he turned into a fire attribute divine physique, the great sun furnace would be at his fingertips. Why would he need a breath to kill the tree demon? Jiang Tian thought of his peak state in his previous life and sighed in his heart. Seeing Jiang Tian land on the ground, everyone finally reacted. Zen Master Dexin stepped forward and kowtowed deeply. Thank you, Immortal Master Jiang, for your help. The Exin will definitely repay your kindness. The other monks also bowed to Jiang Tian. Such a person was too terrifying. He might have the strength to fight Li Longyuan head-on. They couldn't defend him. But at this time, Jiang Tian's body shook, and blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. Seeing this, Pudu was surprised. His divine sense swept towards Jiang Tian's dantian and could not help but reveal a gloating smile. Then, he stopped smiling and put his palms together. Master Kong, your soul is occupied by devil chi and devil consciousness. Are you injured? At this moment, he had already discovered that there was a large amount of black devil chi entrenched in Jiang Tian's mind. It hadn't been completely refined and was clashing with the soul devourer, causing Jiang Tian to vomit blood. This was because the soul devourer was originally plundered by Jiang Tian from Yeming Yuan's body. It wasn't easy to use it. Refining devil chi wasn't something that could be done overnight. Moreover, Jiang Tian's dantian was also lifeless. It was shrouded by thick black demonic chi and had no signs of life at all. Under such circumstances, he was already being polite by saying that Jiang Tian was injured. He should have said that Jiang Tian's cultivation had dissipated and he had become a cripple. Just refine this demonic chi. Why do you have to devour it? This is bad. His mind might be in a mess and he might go mad. At this moment, Great Demon Bai Zhe also noticed the changes in Jiang Tian and was shocked. Jiang Tian did look a little demonic at this moment. The white in his eyes had decreased, and his black pupils had expanded. The devil chi was torrential, exuding a cruel and bloodthirsty aura. This devil chi had already begun to spread to Jiang Tian's dantian, causing it to turn pitch black. Jiang Tian glanced at Pudu coldly and said, "What does it have to do with you whether I'm injured or not?" Pudu's face stiffened, then he smiled and said, "Immortal Master Jiang, the demon-subduing temple has 3 scrolls of the great freedom demon-subduing mantra. If you convert to the demon-subduing temple and become my disciple, I will teach you this supreme skill. Get lost." Jiang Tian's eyes flickered with murderous intent as he said coldly, "I'm already being merciful by not killing you. If you dare to make trouble again, I won't be polite to you. Immortal Master Jiang, I'm giving you face and giving you this opportunity because I want to repay your kindness." Pudu was furious and said, "Do you know that you have the devil chi? Do you know that you won't be able to refine the devil chi that has invaded your body? If this continues, you will lose all of your cultivation base and become a cripple. Or, your behavior will become erratic, like a mad demon or a wild dog. You will become a beast. Now you have offended the Starry Palace and the other major forces. You are the target of public criticism. Li Longyuan wants to kill you, and the major cities and sects regard you as a mortal enemy. Don't you know that? You are absolutely helpless against this devil chi, but in my opinion, it is extremely simple. You only need to recite the Great Freedom Demon Subduing Mantra for a year to refine the endless devil chi. Originally, if you had asked me nicely, I would have helped you, but you actually treated me like this. Well, I can't be bothered with you. The other eminent monks were also angry and criticized Jiang Tian, as if Jiang Tian didn't know what was good for him. Immortal Master Jiang, our demon-subduing temple kindly came to guide you to convert, lest you be killed by Li Longyuan. How can you have such an attitude? Now that the devil chi has entered your body, your divine sense is chaotic, and your cultivation has dropped greatly. If you don't know how to appreciate kindness, then wait to be killed. Uncle Masters, don't be disrespectful to Immortal Master Jiang. After all, he just saved everyone. Only Zen Master Dexen bowed and apologized to Jiang Tian, earnestly persuading everyone. What kind of eminent monks are you? How can you be so shameless? Big Brother Jiang has already saved you, but you are still threatening him. You can just lend the scriptures to Big Brother Jiang. Why must you convert him to your demon-subduing temple? Xiaoying Luo was so angry that her face turned pale. She couldn't believe it. It was as if a group of people had fallen into the water and someone had saved them, but they wanted to extort the rescuer. What about converting Jiang Tian and converting Jiang Tian? It sounded nice, but wasn't it just making Jiang Tian a slave and servant for them to use? I said that on this mainland, only our demon-subduing temple has the ability to refine the devil chi. Pudu remained unmoved. He glanced at Jiang Tian with a slight sneer as if Jiang Tian was already a dead man. Then he lifted his foot and left. He was sure that Jiang Tian was in a very bad situation now. He was only at the second level of foundation establishment, and previously, he had used the energy explosion pill and other elixirs to forcibly increase his cultivation. He was already on the verge of death. Now that the devil chi had entered his body, his combat power would drop a lot and he would be vulnerable. It could be said that even if the Feather Guard attacked, Jiang Tian might not be able to withstand it, let alone Li Longyuan. He would be killed in minutes. Therefore, he was sure that Jiang Tian would admit defeat and bow his head to the demon-subduing temple to admit his mistake. Master Pudu walked calmly to the mouth of the valley, but he was counting down in his heart. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Behind Master Pudu, Jiang Tian's voice suddenly sounded. A sneer appeared at the corner of Master Pudu's mouth, and he snorted proudly in his heart. He still took the bait. This was all part of their plan. From the moment he invited Jiang Tian to convert to the demon-subduing temple, it was a big show against Jiang Tian. As long as Jiang Tian converted to the demon-subduing temple, Master Pudu would immediately place Jiang Tian in the 1000 Buddha pagoda and use Buddhist teachings to convert him. There were 1,000 golden arhats in the pagoda, as well as a huge amount of telekinesis. He said that he would convert the demonic thoughts in Jiang Tian's mind, but in fact, he would slowly grind Jiang Tian's divine sense into pieces. These 1,000 arhats had a great background. They were the abbot of the demon-subduing temple, Arhatvajra. Not to mention that Jiang Tian's cultivation had dropped greatly and his Dan Tian was damaged. Even if he was at his peak state, he would not be able to resist. Once his divine sense was destroyed, his supernatural powers would be destroyed, and his physical body would be reduced to that of an ordinary person. At that time, Jiang Tian would be at the mercy of anyone who could stab him to death with a finger. It could be said that Monster King Bai Zhe had underestimated their scheming and thought that they were too kind. He thought that they were guiding Jiang Tian to convert to strengthen the demon-subduing temple. But in fact, Master Pudu and the higher-ups of the demon-subduing temple had never intended to let Jiang Tian live. Hearing Jiang Tian's words, Master Pudu slowly turned around, flicked his sleeves, and said proudly, "What? Immortal Master Jiang, are you regretting it? If you had been polite to me earlier, you wouldn't have humiliated yourself." Many eminent monks were also sneering. What number one person on earth? What demon cave mountain master? No matter how glorious and powerful you are still a coward who is afraid of death. You still have to bow your head to the demon-subduing temple. But as soon as Master Pudu finished speaking, Jiang Tian's face was full of mockery. He said coldly, "Regret? Being polite to you? You think too highly of yourself. You secretly plotted against me with the Buddha amulet. Did you think that I, Kong Teichu, am easy to bully? Today I will kill you." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed drastically. Xiao Yingluo's face was even paler. She knew that Jiang Tian was not going to bow his head and admit defeat, but was going to fight them to the death. Master Pudu was slightly taken aback, then he looked up to the sky and laughed. "Ha, Kong Teichu, that's right, I wanted to kill you just now. Don't tell me you still want to settle accounts with me?" He was unscrupulous and arrogant. He did not look like an eminent monk at all. "Isn't it up to me to decide whether I want to convert you or kill a demon like you to guard the vicissitudes of righteousness? Your life and death are completely in my hands. And have you forgotten that the demonic aura has entered your body and you've lost all your cultivation? How dare you question me now?" Jiang Tian said lightly, "I haven't forgotten my demonic aura. But even if I lose all my cultivation, I'm still not someone you can provoke." "Little White," Jiang Tian shouted. "You called me? Why are you calling me?" Bai Zhe walked out lazily, looking as if he wouldn't do anything even if he was beaten to death. He was a little depressed. "I'm a demon king with a lifespan of thousands of years. You call me Little White? Why does it sound like a dog's name?" Jiang Tian looked at his dead face and felt angry. He shouted, "That's enough. Do you still want to kneel down and lick my toes? If you don't, kill him for me. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Do you think I'll kill you just because you want me to?" Bai Zhe sneered, but he was already approaching Master Pudu, muttering shyly, "I'm the ruler of this world. I'm going to conquer the sea of stars in the future. You're just a little foundation establishment cultivator. If you want me to help you, you'd better say, please." Then he raised his hand and pointed at Master Pudu, shouting like an old man. "Little bald donkey, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and kneel down and lick my toes." Chapter 943. You want him to kill me? He's not even a teenager. He's like an ant. Do you think he's a match for me? Master Pudu couldn't believe it. He sneered. Bai Zhe's original body had been damaged by Li Longyuan. It was in between a human form and a demon form. He had reformed this human form. Judging from his qi, blood, and age, he was indeed a teenager. Bai Zhe was a demon with a lifespan of more than 1,000 years. He was older than Yuan Tiangang and the great grandmaster of the demon-subduing temple. Master Pudu and he were not from the same era. Master Pudu had never seen him, so he naturally didn't know him. "No, I have to run. Otherwise, he'll kill me later." Seeing that everyone was paying attention to Jiang Tian and Bai Zhe and no one was paying attention to her, Chu Yunxiu retreated step by step. After taking dozens of steps back quietly, she stepped on the flying sword and flew away without looking back. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared into the night. "Ant!" Bai Zhe was furious. Demon chi soared around him. He turned around and slapped at Master Pudu. Boom! Crack! Bai Zhe's palm grew hair as it slapped down. The sharp bone hook grew rapidly. When it hit Master Pudu, it was already a demon claw the size of a millstone. Boom! There was a loud noise. Master Pudu was slapped into the ground. He spat out blood. His bones and tendons were broken, and his monk robe was tattered. "Little bald donkey, how dare you call me an ant? Kneel down to immortal Master Jiang. Lick our toes." Bai Zhe smiled darkly and waved his hand. Several gusts of demon wind controlled Master Pudu to crawl toward Jiang Tian. He knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing. He even opened his mouth and licked Jiang Tian's shoes. Bai Zhe was too strong. Even Li Longyuan and Li Longyuan's ancestors were no match for him, let alone Master Pudu. "Kong Teichu, he's a demon. He's a great demon." Master Pudu was shocked and angry. He shouted loudly, "How dare you raise demons? You're with demons. You are truly a devil, and your crimes are unforgivable." He was the abbot of the Demon Suppression Temple, an esteemed monk of his generation. Yet, he was being forced to kneel before Jiang Tian by a demon. He even wanted to lick Jiang Tian's toes. This was a great humiliation. Hee, didn't you want to convert me? Jiang Tian stepped on Master Pudu's face. Come, continue to convert me. What kind of bullshit incantation is that? Recite it to me. Kong Teichu, this poor monk came here today to establish good karma. How dare you humiliate me like this? Do you know? Master Pudu was about to threaten them. Bang. Jiang Tian stepped on Master Pudu's face again. Jiang. To. Master Pudu roared angrily, his eyes almost popping out of their sockets. You've gone too far. I'm abbot of demon subduing temple? I know about him, but he's nothing. Jiang Tian stepped on him again and snorted. I'm bullying you, I'm humiliating you, and I'm stepping on you. What can you do about it? Jiang Tian stepped on him until his yellow teeth fell out, his nose was bleeding, and his face was deformed. I don't need to be at the peak of my cultivation to step on you. My devil chi has entered my body, and I've lost all my cultivation, but I'm still stepping on you. What can you do about it? Get up and bite me. Cough. Master Pudu's mouth was bleeding, and he coughed violently. He was so miserable that he could not say a word. Convert me? Convert to your demon suppression temple and become your disciple? Who gave you the courage to do that? Bang. Jiang Tianfei raised his leg and kicked his nose, causing blood to gush out from his nose. Jiang Tian snorted mockingly. I saved you, and you still want to plot against me? Jiang Tian stepped on him again and again. His feet fell like raindrops, as if he was doing a ghost dance. Master Pudu's face suddenly became bloody and twisted like a crumpled sanitary napkin. His monk robe was torn, and his face was covered with blood and mud. He was in a sorry state. In the end, Jiang Tian spat on his face and sneered. Shameless, heartless, and deceitful. How dare you call yourself an eminent monk? How nauseating! But, At this time, Master Pudu was so miserable, and he was so humiliated by Jiang Tian that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was the abbot of Demon Suppression Temple, one of the 3 major sects under the Tianqing Palace. He was profound in Buddhist doctrine and had countless believers, among which there was no lack of experts like aristocratic families and city lords. Even Li Longyuan had to treat him politely and rely on him. At this moment he was beaten up so miserably by Jiang Tian. At this moment he hated Jiang Tian to the core. He gritted his teeth and said, Kong Teichu, you have made a terrible mistake. Do you understand? If I don't die tonight, I will settle this score with you. You won't have the chance because you are going to die soon. Jiang Tian said calmly. You want to kill me? Master Pudu was stunned. So what if I kill you? Jiang Tian smiled. Suddenly, Master Pudu lay on the ground and laughed madly. He said coldly, Kong Teichu, you are too naive. Do you know what the words devil-suppressing temple mean here? Do you know what kind of influence salvation, have? For thousands of years, anyone, even if they have committed heinous crimes, can join my demon suppression temple and become a Buddha as long as they put down their weapons. Even Li Longyuan can't pursue this matter. For thousands of years, my demon suppression temple has guarded this continent and killed countless demons and devils. Countless monks in the temple have died and are respected by everyone. Therefore, my demon suppression temple has been a great benefactor to thousands of sects and is their shelter. Furthermore, before coming here, this humble monk has already announced to the world that I have come to convert you. I have come to treat your injuries. I have come to protect you. But you killed me. What kind of face did you have in the eyes of the world? He screamed like an evil spirit. You don't know what's good for you. You repay kindness with ingratitude. You are cruel and unscrupulous. You kill people and destroy sects easily. At that time, no one in the stellar sky domain will be loyal to you. You are deserted by your friends and family, and you are alone. At that time, the world will talk and the cultivator's spittle will drown you alive. At that time, many sects and huge cities in the world will regard you as their mortal enemy. At that time, they will even think that the human race on Earth is so despicable. Invading Earth and cleansing that dirty and despicable world will become the consensus of everyone in Star World. Kang Tae-chu, do you really think I am so stupid? I have made full preparations before I came. Master Pudu became more and more proud as he spoke. Finally, he laughed wildly. The righteousness of the common people and the moral high ground are all occupied by this old monk. I can heal you, convert you with Buddhist techniques, kill you directly, or ambush you. You can't do anything. Do it. Kang Tae-chu, come and kill this old monk. Let's see if you have the guts. Jiang Tian was silent. He looked at the sky and seemed to be thinking. What? Are you scared? Master Pudu laughed complacently like a mad devil and mocked. Don't worry. Aren't you called the most powerful person on Earth? Aren't you invincible? Even you are at your wits' end. Let me tell you, a brain is a good thing, but you don't have one. Looking at Master Pudu's ferocious and terrifying appearance, Zen Master Dashin felt a chill in his heart. He couldn't believe it. Could it be that this is my venerable and formidable master? Could this be the senior monk who had attained the Tao? Why does he look like a despicable and shameless villain, a devil with evil intentions, and a lunatic? Do you think I don't dare to kill you? Jiang Tian lowered his eyes and smiled faintly. I'm just wondering whether you should be eaten by the big black dog or by Little White. What? Do you really dare to kill me? Master Pudu's face was full of shock and fear. Immortal Master Jiang, please have mercy. All of a sudden, in the sky, numerous flying swords drew out streaks of white turbulence in the air, like streaks of rainbows, as they flew through the air. The leader was Jiang Haishan. Following closely behind was a tall and majestic general in a red robe wearing bright armor. Immortal Master Jiang, this is Shun Tij, the war god of the wilderness. He is here to deliver a letter of challenge. Jiang Haishan stepped forward quickly and said respectfully. Jiang Tian looked at Shun Tij, his eyes flickering. This person was at least 300 years old, but he still looked like he was 20 years old. However, he already had the strength of the peak stage of the false core stage, which was even stronger than Fang Jingqiang. Jiang Haishan hesitated for a while and whispered in his ear, Immortal Master Jiang, it has indeed spread outside. Many cultivators admire and praise Master Pudu's righteous act. Please don't kill him in a hurry, lest we lose people's support. Jiang Tian nodded slightly, then turned his head and said calmly, Shin Tij, what can I do for you? I heard that you want to kill me? Immortal Master Jiang, you are at the second level of the foundation establishment stage. You are very powerful. I dare not act rashly. Shin Tij cupped his fists, but there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. He said with a smile, This time, I am here to deliver an invitation letter to my master, Li Longyuan. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. What was supposed to come was finally coming. Besides, Immortal Master Jiang, I think you'd better let Master Pudu go and stop killing. Shen Tij glanced at Pudu and said seriously, He healed you for the sake of saving the world. He's here to treat your injuries and resolve a massacre for the people of the world. Why do you have to be so unreasonable and overbearing? In the end, you'll end up being the laughingstock of the world. I'm aggressive? Jiang Tian snorted coldly and said with a disdainful smile, Do I need him to heal me? Do I need him to convert me? It's all his own will. Besides, tonight I saved him and the monks of the demon-subduing temple first, but he attacked me from behind. If I don't kill him, do you think I, Kang Tae-chu, am easy to bully? Immortal Master Jiang, do you think anyone will believe you if you say this? Shen Tij smiled bitterly and said unhurriedly, This time, I am here to deliver the invitation letter to the Qingqiu Mountain Festival on behalf of the Heavenly Star Palace, the Giant Sword Sect, the Heartless Sect, Wild Wave City, Floating Spear City, Star Capital City, and many other forces. I believe that with Immortal Master Jiang's wisdom, you should understand what everyone means, right? If you kill Master Pudu at this time, you will become the public enemy of the world. There will be no room for negotiation. As if victory was in his hands, he straightened his body, put his hands behind his back, and said arrogantly, "Immortal Master Jiang, why don't you give me face and let Master Pudu go? When the time comes, I can put in a good word for you when the knife is on your neck." Chapter 944. At this time, Bai Zhe smiled slyly and said with his divine sense, "Brother Jiang, I'm afraid this is a conspiracy. Even if you let Pudu go, Shin Tej won't speak up for you. He's just a safeguard for Pudu's life." He smirked with a hint of mockery. "If you kill Pudu, you'll become the public enemy. But if you don't kill him, you'll feel very aggrieved. Humans are really 100 times more dangerous than demons. We use our sharp claws to harm people, but they use tricks, framing, and sneak attacks. Morality and justice. Brother Jiang." At this time, another voice came. It was Ding Lai, the city lord of Star Capital, who came in a carriage. "Why are you here?" Jiang Tian's expression was strange. In Jiang Tian's plan, Ding Lai was a spy who came to take down the entire Starry Palace during Jiang Tian's final battle. He was probably exposed now that he was here. The lid has been lifted. Li Longyuan has already noticed. Ding Lai smiled bitterly and sighed. "Our whole family has been cursed by him. If you don't attend the event, we'll all die." Jiang Tian didn't panic at all. He nodded and said calmly, "Don't worry, I'll go." "Master Kong, don't go. I'm here to tell you, don't go, save your strength first. Li Longyuan won't dare to kill me. Now he's using conciliatory tactics to win public support." Ding Lai leaned over to Jiang Tian's ear and whispered, "But you can't kill Pudu. Because the previous abbot of the demon-subduing temple, Master Shixiang, has come out of seclusion. It's said that he has also cultivated to the golden core stage. If you kill Pudu, you'll have another powerful enemy. Originally, the Starry Palace, the Giant Sword Sect, and several large cities hated you. The demon-subduing temple and many small and medium-sized sects showed a neutral attitude. But if you kill Pudu, plus the demon-subduing temple, the Heartless Sect, and other small and medium-sized forces, you'll really be the enemy of the whole world." At this moment, Master Pudu could be said to have triggered a chain reaction. To put it bluntly, the demon-suppressing temple was secretly controlled by the Heavenly Star Palace. They used the Dharma to paralyze and stabilize the middle and lower classes. But this kind of paralysis and thought control was very successful. Many poor commoners treated the demon-suppressing temple as their savior. They had many supporters and believers. Once Pudu was killed, Jiang Tian would lose the support of the people, which was equivalent to declaring war on the entire Heavenly Star small world. It was no longer just a declaration of war against the Heavenly Star Palace and Li Longyuan. The mastermind behind this scheme had taken advantage of this point. If the devil-suppressing temple got rid of Jiang Tian, then so be it. However, if Jiang Tian decided to deliver salvation and massacre the monks of devil-subduing temple, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. They were merciful, slaying demons and devils, occupying the moral high ground of the world. How could Jiang Tian kill them? Ding Lai explained carefully and then said sincerely, "Brother Jiang, bear with it for a while. You should get rid of Li Longyuan first, stabilize the Heavenly Star domain, and then settle the score with the demon-suppressing temple." Shin Tej also crossed his arms and looked at Jiang Tian with a half-smile, his eyes full of mockery. Ding Lai was not stupid, and neither were the others. They all understood that Jiang Tian was now in a dilemma. Seeing Jiang Tian frown slightly, Master Pudu smiled crazily and roared wildly. "Kong Teichu, do you think you are so great? You don't know the insidiousness and wisdom of cultivators." At this moment, his shameless true colors were all exposed. He laughed loudly and said, "The humans of the Earth domain are too naive and stupid. Do you think you can kill everyone in the Heavenly Star small world with your cultivation? You can't. This penniless monk likes to see the look of helplessness on your face when you're unhappy with me. Ha! Come on, kill me." "Oh, as you wish." Jiang Tian nodded indifferently. Suddenly, he swung his sword. Blood splattered. Master Pudu's bald head flew up and landed on the ground. His eyes were still open, full of shock, astonishment, and unwillingness. It seemed that he could not believe that he had died in such a way. Everyone's faces were filled with shock, and they all revealed looks of disbelief. Kong Taechu had killed Master Pudu with one move. This was tantamount to committing a crime against the entire world. It was simply making an enemy of the entire small world. Even Shintij was shocked. Then he frowned and said, "Kong Taechu, you really dared to kill him?" "I dared to kill Li Longyuan, let alone him." Jiang Tian's face was calm, and his eyes were indifferent. Was he threatening Jiang Tian? In the immortal world and the immortal world, he had never taken a step back. He was not afraid of facing a zenith heaven golden immortal or a primordial god, let alone Master Pudu. In the eyes of the world, the Yin sect was unreachable, powerful, and unshakable. But in Jiang Tian's eyes, they were just a bunch of chickens and dogs. A mere perfected foundation establishment bald donkey dared to threaten Kong Taechu. Did he have a death wish? Fine. Immortal Master Jiang, since you won't give me face, you and I will be mortal enemies when we meet again. Shintij gritted his teeth and sneered. Immortal Master Jiang, you're really... Sigh. Ding Lai looked distressed and let out a long sigh. Master Pudu had been killed, and this matter had blown up. Master Pudu was not like the Qing Xian Paozi, Taoist graphite, or Fang Jingxiang. He had too much influence and connections in this world. Since Immortal Master Jiang has such courage, you should dare to accept this invitation. 7 days later, I invite Immortal Master Jiang to Qingqiu Mountain outside Star Capital, by the Raging Waves River, for a grand event. Shintij's expression was cold as he took out a gold-inlaid jade talisman invitation and handed it over with both hands. War God Shin, this matter can be discussed slowly. I will personally meet Li Longyuan. Before Jiang Tian could accept it, Ding Lai had already stepped forward and stopped him. This was clearly an invitation to a battle. In fact, many major cities and sects had wanted to kill Jiang Tian for a long time, but Jiang Tian had not officially accepted the challenge. There was still room for negotiation. But Jiang Tian accepting the invitation was equivalent to accepting the challenge. There was no room for negotiation. That was also the reason why Ding Lai had come here to stop Jiang Tian from accepting the challenge. In his opinion, Jiang Tian had no chance of winning at all. But as long as Jiang Tian did not accept the challenge, he would not die. There was still a chance for him to turn the tables. Jiang Tian was very talented. If he avoided the edge and cultivated in seclusion for 20 years, he might be able to overturn the Heavenly Star Palace. Brother Jiang, as long as you don't accept this invitation, I have a way to protect you. Ding Lai looked at Jiang Tian and said in a low voice. Ding Lai also had a lot of influence in the Heavenly Star Palace. His father was the previous generation's law-enforcing elder. Now, several elders were on good terms with him. Moreover, his sister was Li Longyuan's Dao companion. Of course, she was not the mother of the Azure Mystic Sect's Dao disciple, so he did not have any ill feelings toward Jiang Tian. Therefore, there was still room for negotiation. He even thought that he had the ability to make them not attack Jiang Tian. Immortal Master Jiang is the #1 person on Earth. He's the master of the demon cave and even occupies a desolate city. Shintij sneered. Immortal Master Jiang won't be reduced to being protected by a woman and a few old men, right? Immortal Master Jiang is now invaded by demonic qi and is seriously injured. His cultivation has dropped greatly, and you want to gang up on him at this time? That's too despicable. Ding Lai heard this and glared angrily. Shintij, you are the lord of a city, known as the war god of this world. You are a famous figure. Taking advantage of others' difficulties, despicable and shameless. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the world? You said that you wanted to destroy Jade Well Peak and kill Immortal Master Jiang. Why didn't you dare to go when Brother Jiang's cultivation was still there? Now you jump out and clamor. Don't you feel embarrassed? Ding Lai, you're about to die, and you still dare to be presumptuous with me. Shintij heard this and couldn't help but blush. Then he shouted angrily out of humiliation. After Jiang Tian defeated Fang Jingqiang, he was indeed a little afraid of Jiang Tian. It was because Mieu challenged Jiang Tian and Jiang Tian didn't dare to meet the enemy. He concluded that Jiang Tian was only at the second level of foundation establishment and his cultivation was damaged. That was why he dared to come out. I'll accept the invitation. I'll definitely be there on time. Jiang Tian waved his right hand and took the invitation. Then, he said calmly, but you have to pass on a message to them for me. What? Wash your neck clean and wait for me to chop it off. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. Jiang Haishan and Ding Lai shook their heads and smiled bitterly. Even if Jiang Tian was infected by the demonic qi and his cultivation had plummeted, he was still so domineering and not weaker than others. But this was also what they admired about Jiang Tian the most. A good man didn't have to compromise for the general interest. Why did he have to act according to other people's wishes? Some people threw away their dignity and groveled for the rest of their lives. They might as well live a day with an indomitable spirit. This was what it meant to be human. Okay, then we'll wait for immortal Master Zhang's arrival. Shin Tij cupped his fists and stepped onto the flying sword, leading everyone into the sky. The moment he turned around, his face suddenly became gloomy. His eyes were filled with hatred, contempt, and coldness as he gritted his teeth. After tonight, he could be said to hate Jiang Tian to the bone, and wished for nothing more than to eat Jiang Tian's flesh and skin. Jiang Tian killed Master Pudu in front of him, which was tantamount to not taking him seriously. It was tantamount to slapping him in the face. If word got out, everyone would laugh at him. He was the god of war of heavenly star small world, the lord of a giant city, and a legendary figure of a generation. But he couldn't suppress a foundation establishment ant from Earth. Moreover, protecting Master Pudu was also a part of his huge plan. Now that Jiang Tian killed Master Pudu in front of him, even Li Longyuan would think that he was incompetent and look down on him. However, a moment later, Shin Tij grinned smugly. Kong Teichu, oh Kong Teichu, how dare you kill Master Pudu? I'll see how long you can be arrogant. Your cultivation was originally only at the second level of foundation establishment. You relied on elixirs, evil magic, and secret methods to forcibly raise your cultivation. I'm afraid you've been seriously injured. Now, with the invasion of the demonic qi, your divine sense is polluted, your dantian is damaged, and your cultivation is almost lost. You killed Master Pudu. Once the Green Hill Grand Meeting is held, you will be the enemy of the whole world, and everyone will want to kill you. The powerhouses of Heavenly Star Small World will tear you to pieces. With so many powerhouses, each of them can stab you to death with a finger. Chapter 945. After Shin Tij left, the monks of the demon-subduing temple also collected Master Pudu's body and left. Immortal Master Jiang, don't be rash. There are too many powerful cultivators this time. If Fang Jingqiang was still alive, he wouldn't even be ranked among them. Zen Master Dexin bowed to Jiang Tian and said in a deep voice. Jiang Tian nodded and said, Dexin, you have Buddha nature, but you're surrounded by fake monks. You can go outside and take a look to increase your experience. Thank you for your guidance, Immortal Master Jiang. Zen Master Dexin looked confused and hurried away. Kong Teichu, you killed Abbot Pudu. Our demon-subduing temple must avenge this great hatred. We'll wait for you at the Green Hill Grand Meeting. We'll tear you into pieces then. However, except for Zen Master Dexin, everyone looked at Jiang Tian with anger and resentment. Their hearts were full of hatred. Jiang Tian's expression was indifferent and disdainful. Humans were like this. They feared power but did not care about virtue. When these monks faced the tree demon, they were so scared that their souls left their bodies. They covered their heads and fled like rats. However, when facing Jiang Tian, they felt that Jiang Tian's cultivation had dissipated and that he was no longer a threat, so they dared to be presumptuous. When the monks of the demon-subduing temple carried Master Pudu's body out of the demon cave mountain and walked all the way to the demon-subduing temple, they accused Jiang Tian of heinous crimes. Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. The entire Heavenly Star Small World was like a ladle of cold water poured into a hot oil pan. It was completely boiling. Kong Taechu actually attacked Zen Master Pudu. Zen Master Pudu was trying to heal his injuries and convert him. I never expected Kong Taechu to be so fierce. He repaid kindness with ingratitude. He's inhumane. This guy is too terrifying. He can be called a devil. We must eliminate him. We can't let him live. After all, Master Pudu had always been an eminent monk. He had once roamed the world, slaying demons and devils, guarding the vicissitudes of the righteous path in the world. He had once practiced medicine to help the world, using the boundless Dharma to deliver all living beings from torment, treating the poor people. He advised people to do good and resolved many grudges and killings. He told people to lay down their weapons and become Buddhas. He had formed many good karma. Many people had committed heinous crimes, and he would plead on their behalf, stepping out to protect them. Most importantly, Master Pudu had gone there to resolve Jiang Tian's sin of killing and to heal Jiang Tian's injuries. It could be said that he had delivered charcoal in snowy weather. But Jiang Tian actually killed him. Actually, there was a reason why Master Immortal Jiang took action. Monk Dexen couldn't take it anymore and wanted to explain to everyone. Pa! A monk sent him flying with a slap and berated loudly, Dexen, you are speaking up for the devil path. Do you want to become a devil too? Aren't you going to avenge Master? Master wanted to form a good relationship with him and save his life, but he ambushed and killed Master. He repaid kindness with ingratitude. Dexen, you don't deserve to be a monk of the demon-subduing temple. Get lost. A few monks flipped him to the ground and tore off his identity certificate, prayer beads, and even his monk robes and pants. Monk Dexen stood on the street in a pair of large underpants, trembling. He stared blankly at the monks, unable to continue reading the Buddhist scriptures in his heart. How could Kong Taechu do such a thing? Some of the martial artists and cultivators who supported Jiang Tian couldn't believe it when they heard the news. Kong Taechu, you claim to be the #1 person on earth in vain. Master Pudu wanted to expiate your sins and treat your internal injuries to save your life, but you killed him. How disgusting! At this moment, merciless Sex Mieu denounced Jiang Tian in public, full of hatred. Do you still believe him now? I said that he is a person who fishes for fame. Do you still not believe me? Then, Shin Tej also confirmed this and claimed that he had tried to persuade him, but he couldn't stop him. Kong Taechu was no match for Master Pudu at first. Master Pudu had been seriously injured in order to kill a monster, so Kong Taechu took advantage of the situation to sneak an attack. If the words of the monks of the demon-subduing temple were only one-sided, then the words of the two sect masters were equivalent to official propaganda. Master Ashen Pine, the sect master of the Giant Sword sect, also spoke with righteous indignation. Kong Taechu, my junior brother, Taoist Graphite, killed the blue-eyed toad and saved your life. I didn't expect you to kill him and steal his treasure. As he spoke, many people suddenly realized that the blue-eyed toad had been killed by Taoist Graphite. Humans on Earth are like beasts. Those who are not of our kind must have a different heart. Those who are strong are bandits. Those who are weak are humble and don't care about kindness. The vice sect master of the Giant Sword sect said with disdain. That's right. Earth is too backward. It's like a primitive world where beasts run wild. Everyone has the face of a human but the heart of a beast. If they are not complacent, it will backfire and cause harm. Someone immediately agreed. In fact, many of the upper and middle class of the Heavenly Star small world despised Earth. It was as if their homeland was just a ruin and a livestock farm. As the saying goes, public opinion can distort gold. If a lie was told 10,000 times, it would become true. What's more, those who said these words were some famous big shots in the Heavenly Star. Kong Taechu is even more ferocious than Li Longyuan. If he controls the Heavenly Star domain, I'm afraid we will be even more miserable than before. Despicable villain. We can't support him. Supporting him is inviting a wolf into the house. Our rumbling Sky Mercenary Group, from today onwards, will withdraw from the Demon Cave Mountain Volunteer Army and cut all ties with Kong Taechu. This time, even some of Jiang Tian's supporters were shaken. Some even directly change sides. In the giant sword sect, several big shots of the heavenly star domain gathered to conspire. Master Ashen Pine sneered and said disdainfully, "This Kong Teichu's reputation is completely ruined. We can kill him however we want." "That's right." Shin Tej smiled and said, "Actually, there's nothing to be afraid of about Kong Teichu. However, this kind of free and undisciplined thinking is too scary. Once it spreads, the country will no longer be a country. Now that Palace Lord Li Longyuan has offended the lower and middle class for this world, we must stabilize. Fortunately, Kong Teichu has fallen into our trap step by step." The leader of the Feather Guard, Li Zixing, snorted. "Before this, if we had killed him at the meeting of the Green Mountains, there would definitely be people who would say that we bullied a junior of the Foundation establishment who had lost all his cultivation for revenge. But now, who cares? Even if we gang up and attack them, no one will say anything. They will only clap and cheer. Morality is already on our side." Master Ashen Pine sipped his tea and said calmly, "He's just a little kid from Earth. This poor Taoist has eaten more salt than the rice he has eaten. When it comes to scheming, he's too far behind us." The feather uniform guard Li Zixing's face suddenly turned serious as he asked, "City Lord Shin, has Kong Teichu really lost all his cultivation?" "More or less." Shin Tej frowned and pondered for a while before mocking. "I didn't expect him to go to the Red Thunder Mountain and be infected with demonic aura when he's only at the second stage Foundation establishment realm. That demonic aura might have come from the great immortal demon war of the Heavenly God sect or even before that. It's very vicious. Now, his divine sense is in chaos, and his dantian is lifeless. I'm afraid he can't use any of his abilities. What right does he have to fight with us? Just wait for death." Everyone present burst into laughter as if Jiang Tian was a soft persimmon that they could pinch. While these enemies and opponents were waiting to see Jiang Tian make a fool of himself. Jiang Tian had already started his second seclusion in the Red Thunder Mountain. Chu Yunxiu took advantage of the chaos to run away, and Jiang Tian was too lazy to care about her. Anyway, she couldn't make any big waves. Jiang Tian asked Jiang Haishan and Ding Lai to bring Qiao Yingluo back to Jadewell Peak. According to Jiang Tian's instructions, the rebel army was directly dismissed, and the main backbone hid their identities to preserve their strength. Now, Li Longyuan clearly wanted to use the name of the vicissitudes of the righteous path to have a peak confrontation. Killing him alone wouldn't affect the others. Because Li Longyuan was also afraid that suppressing the rebel army would cause a backlash from the bottom. In that case, Jiang Tian wouldn't borrow the power of the rebel army. The rebel army was already useless. "Big brother Jiang, what should we do? Now, there are many people outside who want to kill you." When they parted, Qiao Yingluo was very reluctant. She wanted to stay behind to protect Jiang Tian and help Jiang Tian heal and break through. "It's okay. Go back quickly. Actually, I'm not injured. The demonic aura won't affect me much." Jiang Tian touched her little head and chuckled. "Then you must take care. If you haven't recovered, don't go to the appointment." Qiao Yingluo reminded him again and again, looking back 3 times with every step. In the end, she was still taken away by Jiang Haishan and Ding Lai. In this way, only Jiang Tian Yitianren, the old dragon, and the Demon King Bai Zhe were left in Crimson Thunder Mountain. While he's in seclusion, I'll secretly kill him. Then, I'll grind away the magical power and divine sense on the feather robe and star crown, and he'll become my treasure. Big Demon Bai Zhe's eyes turned, and a plan came to his mind. He secretly gritted his teeth. "Celestial, old dragon, I'll teach you the method to control the feather robe and star crown," Jiang Tian said with a smile. Yi Dunren bowed and cupped his fists. "Little White, be obedient and be my little brother." The old dragon was very excited. He touched Bai Zhe's head with his big claws and laughed. "Don't compete with me in the future, or I'll make you lick my toes. This despicable thief is really cunning." Bai Zhe glared at Jiang Tian fiercely and was so angry that he almost vomited blood. "Also, who wants to compete with you? How can I be a slave?" "You useless black dog." Jiang Tian transmitted his divine sense and quickly taught the old dragon and Yi Tianren the method to control the feather robe and star crown, so that they could control Bai Zai at any time. In this way, Jiang Tian could go into seclusion in peace, and Bai Zai also became Jiang Tian's guard. Everything was ready. Jiang Tian sat cross-legged on the top of Crimson Thunder Mountain and first used the great imperial demon art to refine the demonic qi in his mind. The latter was quickly refined by Jiang Tian and became part of Jiang Tian's divine sense. Now, Jiang Tian's divine sense had been divided into 4. In the Naiwan Palace in the middle of his forehead, the divine sense of his main body was rippling like a vast golden lake. The second primordial spirit sat in it like a golden Bodhidharma form. The soul devourer's divine sense was like black glue floating around the golden Bodhidharma form. The demonic qi and demonic will that had just been absorbed floated around the second primordial spirit like a black fog. As the cultivation technique was activated, Jiang Tian suddenly had a demonic nature. A demon gradually appeared behind Jiang Tian's head. Chapter 946. This demon had the body of a snake and the head of a human. It had 8 arms and its face was very similar to Jiang Tian's. However, it was extremely ferocious and terrifying. It continued to expand and rose from the ground. Eventually, it became taller and bigger until it was over 100 feet tall. Its body reached into the depths of the clouds and into the rolling sea of thunder. These demonic thoughts had destructive power. They specialized in polluting Dharma treasures and immortal artifacts, disintegrating Dharma treasures and destroying other people's divine sense. A drop of demonic thoughts could obliterate the divine soul and easily kill a foundation establishment stage expert. Moreover, it had condensed a physical body and was very powerful, comparable to a golden core stage expert. When it manifested, heaven and earth were restless. Spirit chi and miasma surged like tides, lightning flashed and thunder roared. However, even if the bucket-sized thunder and lightning kept striking, it did not collapse at all. The surrounding demonic beasts comparable to foundation establishment and false core stage experts were frightened and ran in all directions. Some even hugged their heads and crawled on the ground, shivering like quails in the cold wind. "Oh my God, isn't this the demon that fought with the God of God? Why is he manifested?" Seeing this, Bai Zai was so scared that his face turned pale. His whole body trembled and he could not wait to run away. After all, this demon was a terrifying existence that could crush the God of God. He had also tortured him and left a serious psychological shadow. However, this mass of demonic thoughts and demonic qi was completely controlled by Jiang Tian's demonic technique. Under Jiang Tian's command, it immediately retracted into his mind. This kid is simply heaven-defying and terrifying. Sensing Jiang Tian's change, great monster Bai Zai's heart palpitated. Who said that Earth was easy to bully? It was simply terrifying. It was so terrifying that it was insane. One had to know that the tree demon was originally a figure of the same generation as the God of God. He was powerful and his demonic techniques were heavenly. However, he could not refine the demonic qi and demonic thoughts. He was eroded by the demonic qi and demonic thoughts until he was cruel and bloodthirsty. In the end, he became the scourge of this continent. But now, this 20-year-old kid was able to refine the demonic qi and control it freely in a few hours. It was too terrifying. He did not know that the great imperial demonic technique was originally created by Jiang Tian when he attacked the devil world. The idea behind this cultivation method was to use the devil to subdue the devil. In order to exterminate the devil, one must first become a devil, or even a devil among devils. Relying on this technique, Jiang Tian had once swept through several devil realms, and no one knew how many devil lords had been killed and refined by Jiang Tian with this technique. As for the devil qi and devil will on the tree demon, without the support of the devil head's blood essence, it had been eroded for tens of thousands of years and was very weak. If Jiang Tian wanted to devour and refine it, it would be a matter of seconds. After refining the devil qi and devil will into a devil with the body of a snake, Jiang Tian suddenly felt his mind clear up, and his spiritual sense was even stronger than before. At present, Jiang Tian's consciousness already had 4 parts. The main body's consciousness, the second primordial spirit, the soul devourer's consciousness, and the snake devil. Every single one of them was abnormally powerful and could cooperate with each other, combining and changing at will. It far surpassed the divine sense of a golden core cultivator. Alright, it's time to use the whirling divine tree to transform my wood elemental divine body. 7 days should be enough. The corners of Jiang Tian's mouth curled into a smile. Then, he patted the vessel nurturing gourd at his waist, and a crystal-clear piece of wood jumped out like an emerald. This piece of wood was only the size of an egg. It was crystal clear, flowing with colorful lights, and emitted a magical aura, like green tentacles wriggling around. The green tentacles were verdant and had a vigorous aura of life. When it wriggled to Great Demon Baizei's body. Suddenly, there was a soft pop sound on Great Demon Baizei's head, and a green sprout emerged. Why is there a green leaf on my head? Great Demon Baizei held the leaf in his hand. But suddenly, roots quickly emerged from the green leaf. The roots grabbed the ground and kept getting thicker and bigger. At the same time, the green leaf rapidly swelled, sprouting branches and green leaves crazily growing out of it. This vitality, Great Demon Baizei was dumbfounded. Suddenly, the original green leaf turned into a tree in the blink of an eye, reaching 100 meters tall and hanging Baizei on it. Immortal Master Jiang, what is that in your hand? Baizei looked down in horror. He saw that Jiang Tian was surrounded by a green aura, and all the plants were growing crazily. The originally thin vines became as thick as buckets, swaying in the air like giant pythons, and the green grass became hacksaws. Many trees rose from the ground, becoming thicker and bigger, like giant umbrellas covering the sky. Even the seeds deep in the soil and the decaying dead trees on the ground grew green leaves. This is the demonic core of the tree demon. But it has already refined the fiend qi, and it's all pure vitality. Jiang Tian said lightly. The demonic core of the tree demon? It shouldn't have such terrifying vitality. Great Demon Baizei jumped down and said in confusion. Because this is a whirling divine tree, a tree that can produce wood-type plants on a planet. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Whirling divine tree. Great Demon Baizei exclaimed, his eyes full of shock and envy. This tree demon is actually a whirling divine tree under the fiend qi. A whirling divine tree that can create a planet or even a world. Can you give me a little? The greater demon Baizei's saliva almost flowed out as he pleaded with a pitiful expression. You know what's good for you. Jiang Tian sneered and activated the transcending 9 transformation art. Surging true essence condensed into a furnace in front of Jiang Tian's chest, enveloping the spirit wood demon core and refining it. The green spirit wood demon core suddenly turned into a green trickle, like tentacles, and rushed towards Jiang Tian's dantian. At the same time, there was also a significant change in Jiang Tian's sea of vital energy. On the vast plain of heptagold metal block array, on the shore of the lake where the mystic water surged, a small seedling with the image of a whirling divine tree began to grow slowly. At this moment, Jiang Tian's skin, eyebrows, hair, and even eyes began to emit rays of green light. Gradually, his entire body became crystal clear, overflowing with light and color. The qi of the whirling divine tree was extremely vast, filling and nourishing every cell of Jiang Tian, transforming him in the direction of the whirling divine tree body. The heptagold metal block array in his dantian was covered with a layer of green qi, like a carpet of green grass. A giant azure dragon rose from the undulating mystic water lake. Its scales were dense and extraordinary, and it opened its mouth to spray mystic water on the whirling divine tree seedling. The whirling divine tree's qi was exuberant and extremely dense. Its roots grew crazily and firmly grasped the heptagold metal block array like a dragon's claw, constantly transforming the spirit qi of the divine tree and the mystic water true essence into wood true essence. Even the heptagold metal and thunder true essence were transformed into wood true essence. The whirling divine tree's trunk gradually became thicker, its branches and leaves luxuriant, and it became a towering tree. Even the purple lightning eyes in the depths of his eyes gradually became more solid, and his strength increased by several times. The Transcendent Nine transformation art was to use the Tao of elemental creation and destruction to refine the nine transformation chaotic divine body that surpassed ordinary divine bodies. At that time, once the chaotic physique was completed, the 9 types of elements and 9 types of physiques would circulate endlessly and would never dry up, becoming one of the strongest physiques in the universe. While Jiang Tian was cultivating in seclusion in the Crimson Thunder Mountain to achieve the transformation of the Azure Dragon Mystic Water Divine Body into the Whirling Divine Tree Body, a piece of news swept across the universe like a hurricane, spreading throughout the heavenly star small world, making people dumbfounded and in disbelief. Kong Teichu will go to the Green Hill meeting in 7 days to meet the palace master of the Heavenly Star Palace, Li Longyuan. Originally, in the Heavenly Star small world, the Heavenly Star Palace suppressed thousands of sects and factions and whipped the world, making many people hate it to the bone. Jiang Tian, the Qing Shen Daozi, destroyed the army of the desolate border. Many people even applauded and supported it. However, since Jiang Tian met Master Pudu, everything changed. Countless people were filled with righteous indignation. They thought that Jiang Tian was not there to kill Li Longyuan, but to become enemies with all the major forces and wanted to destroy the entire Heavenly Star small world. In addition, some people fanned the flames. Some of Jiang Tian's supporters also changed sides and announced to the world that they were drawing a clear line with Jiang Tian. Sigh, I didn't expect him to be a despicable and shameless demon king with such thick eyebrows and big eyes. The leader of the Flying Rainbow Bounty, the Hunters, felt like his idol had been destroyed and was very unhappy. Kong Teichu dared to kill Master Pudu. We must kill him. Many people united with a common enemy and wanted to trample this ant from the lower domain who dared to provoke the Heavenly Star domain to death. What is he going to do at the Green Hill meeting? Is he going to die? Many people mocked Jiang Tian's actions and thought that Jiang Tian was digging his own grave. Back then, when Miyu went to challenge him at the Jade Well Peak, he admitted that he was at the 2nd level of the Foundation Establishment realm and ran away. The sect leader of the Serpent Desire sect said disdainfully. Later, I heard from the eminent monks of the demon-subduing temple that his demonic qi had invaded his body and severely damaged his divine sense and dantian. I'm afraid that his cultivation has been destroyed and he has become a useless person. Isn't he going to die? This person must be going there to ask for forgiveness. The old cultivator of the Li River Sword sect smiled bitterly. Maybe he has a special secret method to increase his cultivation and combat power so that he can last a little longer. But in the battle with Fang Jingqiang, he was already at the end of his rope. Now that he has suffered so much, I'm afraid that he doesn't even have the cultivation of the Foundation Establishment realm. Now, other than asking for forgiveness, what else can he do? Everyone thought so and nodded in agreement. Sigh, Kong Teichu is willing to take on this disaster alone for the safety of the Earth realm. He is indeed merciful. Master Yuan Jing of the Prajna Temple seemed to admire Jiang Tian very much as he commented. Although Kong Teichu is definitely going to die, we still have to go and cheer for the Heavenly Star Palace. After all, when he came to the Heavenly Star domain, he killed Taoist Graphite, Fang Jingqiang, and many other experts. We have to come out and reprimand Kong Teichu to show that the Heavenly Star domain is superior and not something that the ants of Earth can provoke. Some of the older generation sect masters suggested this. Yes, we have to go and witness this. Countless cultivators and experts rushed from all directions to Wild Wave City and Qingqiu Mountain. Kong Teichu asking for forgiveness and the Heavenly Star Palace killing the #1 person of the Earth realm was a matter of great importance. It represented the complete suppression of the Heavenly Star small world over the Earth realm, and it would even go down in history. Who didn't want to watch this show? Chapter 947. As the 7-day deadline approached, Jiang Tian also reached the final stage of his breakthrough. The wood-type spirit qi in the whirling divine tree was too vast. It was continuously converted into wood-type true essence, pushing Jiang Tian to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th level of the foundation establishment level. Rumble. In the void, a huge vortex appeared out of thin air. It was 1,000 feet long, like a heavenly canopy, enveloping the entire Crimson Lightning Mountain. The whirlpool was very deep. Countless dragon-like thunders, tide-like spirit chi and colorful spirit chi were all pulled into the whirlpool by a huge force, gathering towards Jiang Tian's Dantian. That's terrifying. Is this the breakthrough of the foundation establishment level? It's even more terrifying than a golden core overlord's breakthrough. Bai Zai's eyes almost popped out of their sockets in disbelief. At this point, the true essence in Jiang Tian's body had reached an extremely dense level. His Dantian had expanded by more than 10 times and the heptagold metal nuggets were like fertile fields. They were gradually piled up into mountains and peaks. The mystic water lake had also become a lot bigger. White waves surged into the sky and water vapor filled the air. There were clouds floating above the lake. There were even purple thunderbolts. This was the result of Jiang Tian's purple lightning eyes being nourished by his Dantian. If there was enough nourishment, Jiang Tian could even turn into a thunder physique unknowingly. Beside the mystic water lake, there was a whirling divine tree. Its giant crown was like a canopy of clouds. Countless branches and leaves reached deep into the sky. They were full of vitality and green. The green divine tree's true essence was filled with a chaotic energy, as if it could hold up the sky and create a universe. This whirling divine tree is really powerful. Its spirit core pushed me to the 9th level of the foundation establishment level. Jiang Tian felt that there was an endless amount of energy in his body, as if he could lift the sky with one hand and tear the earth apart with his bare hands. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but reveal a hint of joy. Ever since he returned, the spirit chi on earth had been thin and he hadn't felt this powerful for a long time. At this moment, Jiang Tian's aura had reached its peak. He was like an indomitable giant that could pluck the stars and grab the moon from the sky. It was as if he could destroy a planet with a single finger and shatter the heavens with a single palm. Facing this terrifying energy, Yi Tianren and the old dragon were already pale. Even Bai Zai's scalp went numb and his heart almost exploded. This energy was comparable to that of the sect master of the heavens. Li Longyuan and the old golden core cultivators above him were even trash. After I suppress my cultivation to the 3rd level of the foundation establishment level, I'll break through in seclusion. Jiang Tian's eyes narrowed. His momentum, which had reached its peak, suddenly shrank like a meteor and fell to the 3rd level of foundation establishment. After a few breaths, his energy level of the chi cultivation of the heavens. In the end, Jiang Tian was silent like the vast earth, the majestic Mount Tai, and the eternal sky. He had reached a stage where his true essence was calm and his divine aura was restrained. Scary. This kid is scary. He obviously has the ability to kill Li Longyuan, but I can't see it. Bai Zai looked at Jiang Tian with more and more fear. He's obviously playing dirty, pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger. Who said the people on earth are easy to mess with? Li Longyuan, that idiot, provoked this kid. He's digging his own grave. This kid was so sinister. This time, Li Longyuan and the experts from the Stellar Sky Palace would be played to death by Jiang Tian. In fact, the entire Stellar Sky domain would definitely be turned upside down by Jiang Tian. Little Bai, what's the situation outside? Jiang Tian opened his eyes and asked slowly. Bai Zai's face twitched. He smiled and said, "The whole world is your enemy. Hee, is there anyone who doesn't want to kill you?" The whole world is my enemy? Jiang Tian stood up and smiled disdainfully. His eyes shot out bolts of lightning as he said disdainfully, "It's just a bunch of ants." You're just a bunch of ants. Are you worthy of being my enemy? I'll let this world see how I can suppress an entire domain and crush thousands of sections. On the 25th of March 2012, Jiang Tian left the Crimson Thunder Mountains, crossed the Demon Cave Mountains, crossed the Desolate City, and pointed his sword at Qingqiu Mountain. Qingqiu Mountain was located outside the star capital. It was more than 10,000 feet high, and the mountain rocks were majestic and steep. It was like a giant dragon lying across the land, majestic and endless. The peaks of the Demon Cave Mountains could not compare to it. The Qingqiu Palace was above the clouds. It was like an immortal's palace, overlooking the entire star capital. It was the location of this gathering. At this time, countless cultivators came from all over the stellar sky domain. Some were on flying swords, some were riding spirit birds, and some were in carriages. At this time, Qingqiu Mountain was crowded. Not only were there leaders of major sects and cities, but there were also members of aristocratic families, gangs, organizations, and other forces. It had turned into a boiling sea, filled with cultivators. At this time, a young woman was supporting a dying middle-aged man. They stepped on a flying sword and appeared on a peak of Qingqiu Mountain called Horse Rest Ridge. "Dad, do you think Kong Teichu will come this time?" The young woman was Chu Yunxiu. She held Chu Yonghui and asked with a serious expression, "I'm afraid he won't dare to come." Chu Yonghui, whose dantian was shattered and who had lost all his cultivation, looked defeated. He said with hatred, "If he comes, won't he be crushed by the heroes of the world? Look at how many experts Fang Zhufeng has sent. It's an inescapable net. If he comes, he'll have wings." There were too many cultivators participating in the Qingqiu Mountain gathering this time. So far, almost 10,000 people had arrived. The important figures participating in the gathering were all gathered at Fang Zhufeng, the main peak of Qingqiu Mountain, around the Life and Death Ring. The Life and Death Ring, also known as the Life and Death Ring, was a huge square with a radius of a few hundred acres. It was engraved with ancient Dao patterns. Even golden core experts would have a hard time destroying it. In the original Qingqiu Mountain gathering, every year, experts would fight on the Life and Death Ring to settle their grudges. Those who performed well would even be able to join the Heavenly Star Palace. In that hall, the masters of the Heavenly Star Palace, huge cities, and large sects were basically entrenched. They were all discussing the major events of the Heavenly Star Small World. On the other peaks, there were some small and medium-sized sects, gangs, and itinerant cultivators. They were not qualified to enter Fang Zhufeng and could only watch from afar. Horse Rest Ridge was where the cultivators parked their spirit beasts and spirit birds. After all, the cultivation world had a strict hierarchy. Fang Zhufeng was not small and could accommodate 10,000 people, but not everyone could go there. Moreover, these spirit beasts and spirit birds also needed to be fed and taken care of by someone. Yes, his cultivation has already dissipated, Chu Yunxiu said with hatred. However, he's now with the great demon Bai Zhe. His nature is terrible. If we spread this news, he'll definitely become a target of public criticism. At this moment, she had completely forgotten that just a few days ago, she was still proud to be Bai Zhe's disciple and servant. Yes, if we report this to Palace Master Li Longyuan, it'll also be a great merit. Chu Yonghui gnashed his teeth in hatred and sighed repeatedly. What a pity! Kong Teichu took over the magpie's nest. Our Jade Well Peak has fallen into the hands of Kong Teichu and has no status to speak of. Now, we're not even qualified to enter Fang Zhufeng. Just as the two were discussing, suddenly, there was a rumble. Huge chariots filled with treasure light covered the sky and the sun. They soared into the sky and landed on Horse Rest Ridge. These chariots made of precious metal all had huge white phoenixes pulling them in front. Dao patterns and runes were inscribed on them, complemented by complicated and exquisite bird, beast, insect, and fish decorations. Inlaid with countless gems, they were dazzling and looked incomparably luxurious. Moreover, from the chariot, a wave of the city lord's aura was tyrannical and domineering, spreading in all directions. It seemed to be surging with momentum and had the upper hand. Its wild wave city lord Hongyuan and his son Renwang. Some cultivators were forced to stagger back from the pressure and exclaimed, "We pay our respects to the wild wave city lord." When the tall and sturdy Hongyuan appeared, many cultivators kowtowed and trembled as if they were seeing a god. After all, Zheng Hongyuan was also a peak foundation establishment powerhouse with extraordinary strength. He could control a huge city and had the qualifications to speak directly with Li Longyuan. Chu Yonghui was overjoyed when he saw this. He pulled Chu Yunxiu forward quickly and said, "Back then, the Zheng family had shares in my Jade Well company. Moreover, Zheng Hongyuan thought very highly of you back then and even proposed marriage to me." He rushed forward excitedly and shouted, "City Lord Zheng, this time you have to make a decision for me." "Brother Chu, you're here." Zheng Hongyuan only nodded slightly from afar. The other generals who were originally blocking Chu Yonghui all made way. Chu Yonghui came forward and kowtowed, crying and complaining about Jiang Tian's evil deeds. Chu Yunxiu also had a proper bearing and bowed. Behind Zheng Hongyuan, his son Zheng Renwang pulled Chu Yunxiu's soft little hand and smiled slyly. "Yunxiu, you've suffered. Don't worry. My Zheng family will definitely not sit by and do nothing. I will definitely kill Kong Taichu and avenge you." Now that the Chu family had lost Jade Well Peak, of course Chu Yunxiu wasn't worthy of him. But it was enough for her to be a concubine. Moreover, with this status, the Zheng family would be able to take over Jade Well Peak. It would be reasonable and worth it. Now, all the major forces were rubbing their palms in anticipation of Demon Cave Mountain. They were just waiting to kill Kong Taichu and snatch it. He said disdainfully, "This bastard's cultivation is already gone. He's a cripple worse than a dog." "Oh, so this is the Peak Lord of Jade Well Peak, Chu Yonghui. So, he's also a foundation establishment powerhouse, a hero who ruled over a region. And Jiang Tian made him lose all his cultivation and property. How pitiful. This Kong Taichu is really ruthless and scary." When everyone heard Chu Yonghui's tearful complaints, they all felt deep sympathy for Chu Yonghui and viewed Jiang Tian as a scourge. Zheng Hongyuan stood with his hands behind his back and didn't help him up, as if he was just a commoner. Then he swept his gaze over the mountains and shouted, "Where's Kong Taichu? Get the hell out here." His voice exploded above everyone's heads like a tsunami, faintly containing the sound of a surging tide. Many people felt as if their souls were about to be destroyed. "You bully the good and cause a storm of blood time and time again. I'll be the first to not let you go. I'll definitely cut you into 1,000 pieces, pull out your tendons and skin you alive." Zheng Hongyuan puffed out his chest and folded his stomach, arrogant and majestic. The aura of a peak foundation establishment powerhouse erupted as he roared loudly. Chapter 948. There was dead silence. Everyone was suppressed by this monstrous power. Haha, City Lord Zheng's raging tide mystic technique has become more profound. Suddenly, a light voice sounded. With a whoosh, a young Taoist priest flew across the sky on a flying sword like a green rainbow. This person landed on the ground. He was tall and majestic, and his face was like jade. A pair of sword-like eyebrows slanted to his temples. His temperament was otherworldly, and he looked extremely handsome. "So it's Palace Lord Li's disciple, Zhou Yunkai. Excuse me." Even when facing Chu Yonghui, Zheng Hongyuan spoke bluntly. But now, he was smiling and bowing to this Taoist priest with cupped fists, appearing very respectful. Zheng Renwang's face tightened. He walked a few steps quickly and half-knelt. He looked a little nervous as if he was looking at an elder. Chu Yonghui even kowtowed 3 times and 9 times, like a commoner seeing a noble. Zhou Yunkai did not return the greeting. He only nodded and said lightly, "Greetings, Senior Zheng." "Fellow Taoist Zhou, I'm not worthy of being called senior in front of you. Just call me Big Brother," Zheng Hongyuan said with a smile. City Lord Zheng is flattering Zhou Yunkai so much? Isn't he giving too much face? Someone noticed this detail and said in shock, "Flattering? Giving face?" A cultivator at the side snorted. The new prodigy role has been announced. This time, the Starry Palace sent out many strong cultivators who were originally in seclusion. They are many times stronger than the previous batch of prodigies. For example, Miaoyi and Zen Master Dashin did not get a number this time. And Zhou Yunkai, with his foundation establishment level 9 cultivation, got 3rd place. Even if Chu Yonghui is in his peak state, even City Lord Zeng is not his match. Zhou Yunkai can even compete with those sect masters and city lords. Hiss. He's not even 30 years old, but he's already at foundation establishment level 9. That's too scary. So powerful. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Zhou Yunkai with reverence. Even Chu Yunxiu looked at Zhou Yunkai with reverence. Her heart was burning as if she had seen a god. 9th level of foundation establishment, 3rd place on the prodigy roll. Even the Taoist of Qing Xian didn't have such strength back then. He cultivates the orthodox immortal sword technique. A single sword strike can destroy a city or a mountain, annihilate a city or a country, and kill thousands of people. It's far more terrifying than everyone can imagine. The man in the know said triumphantly, "How powerful do you think it is? This is definitely not something that those earth ants like Kong Teichu and those unorthodox sects can compare to. I heard that the top 9 geniuses of the genius ranking have all shown up. They are Li Qingxuan's martial brothers. It's obvious that they are here to avenge Daozi Qingxian." When these words were spoken, the entire area fell into a deathly silence. Many people felt that Jiang Tian's trip boded ill rather than well. The 9 great geniuses of the Starry Sky Palace. Which one of them wasn't a peerless genius? Which one of them didn't have an extraordinary inheritance? Which one of them didn't have a deep foundation? How could an ant from Earth like Kong Teichu compare to him? Is this Miss Chu? I've heard of your tragic experience. Suddenly, Zhou Yunkai's gaze fell on Chu Yunxiu. A strange light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Now that Kong Teichu is the public enemy of the Starry Sky Palace, we righteous sects will definitely not sit by and do nothing. Come with me, I'll let you see Kong Teichu's tragic end. Thank you, young Master Zhou. Chu Yunxiu was flattered and overjoyed. She hurriedly bowed and thanked him. She was only the daughter of a peak master. There was still a big gap between her and the elites of the sections. Even at her peak, she didn't have much chance to come into contact with such a first-class figure on the genius ranking. Zhou Yunkai held her waist and stepped on a flying sword. They flew towards Fang Zhufeng. Behind them, Zheng Renwang was depressed. This woman was too lucky. Did Zhou Yunkai take a fancy to her? When they reached the top of Fang Zhufeng and entered a pavilion, one by one, the major sects and forces arrived one after another. A resplendent streak of light shot over from the sky. The giant sword sect was actually riding on a giant sword magical artifact that was about 100 meters long. It was like a large boat. There were several dozen cultivators wearing Taoist robes and feathered robes on it. They all had extraordinary bearings. They were like treasured swords that had been unsheathed, revealing their sharpness. Soon after, many female disciples of the Heartless sect stepped on a pleasure boat covered in ice and snow. They flew through the air and arrived. Wherever the pleasure boat passed, white mist filled the air. Heavy snow fluttered about. The world was austere and cold, as if they had stepped into the coldest winter. Miao Yi's face was covered in a veil. Her eyes were mournful, but she still received a wave of cheers. Many cultivators cheered for her beauty. Rumble. Golden springs surged from the ground and lotus flowers descended from the sky. Phantoms of the 8th-division heavenly dragon appeared in the air. Brilliant light shot out and Buddhist chants filled the air. The eminent monks of the Demon Suppression Temple have arrived. Many people cried out in alarm. There were even believers who kowtowed deeply. Some rode on strange beasts, some flew in the air on spirit birds, and some walked in the air with lotus blooming with every step. Amidst the various phenomena, there were 300 eminent monks, arhats, and vajras. Especially the monk at the top. He looked solemn and dignified. The Buddhist light around him was dazzling. Many eminent monks sat high in the clouds like the sun in the sky. The golden light behind them was in the shape of a ring. It was dazzling and dyed the white clouds with a golden edge. It was extremely shocking. It's Master Pudu's master, the previous abbot, and the head of the Arhat Hall. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. The demon suppression temple had turned out in full force this time. Even the older generation had arrived. These were all old monsters with a lifespan of hundreds of years. They were all at the peak of the fake core realm and had even reached the golden core realm. However, it was possible that they were unwilling to show their cultivation for various reasons. They were already older than Li Longyuan and were of the same generation as Li Longyuan's father and master. Sigh, Kong Teichu is probably new here. He doesn't know the deep foundation of the demon suppression temple at all. An old sect master clicked his tongue and said, "The demon suppression temple alone has 300 late-stage foundation establishment cultivators. They can already be called exalted immortals. 300 exalted immortals are all here." Every level had a different reputation for cultivation. The cultivation methods on Earth were crude. After surpassing the immortal state, one's strength could be compared to the early-stage foundation establishment cultivators. They were called immortals or saints. However, in this star world, early-stage foundation establishment cultivators were generally called immortal masters. Mid-stage foundation establishment cultivators were called itinerant immortals. Late-stage foundation establishment cultivators, including the fake core cultivators, were called exalted immortals. Only those who reached the golden core cultivators were called true immortals and qualified to control this continent. The demon suppression temple, the giant sword sect, and the heartless sect alone have 600 exalted immortals. The leaders of other small sects, cities, and forces added together, I'm afraid there are more than 1,000. At this time, Chu Yunxiu was sitting in an attic, looking out of the window with a shocked expression. This time, almost all the foundation establishment cultivators of the Heavenly Star Small World had come to the Green Hill Gathering. There were more than 1,000 late-stage foundation establishment cultivators. In addition, there were many sect masters, city masters, and even the masters of the previous generation. Would Kong Teichu still dare to come? He definitely won't dare to come, because he'll be courting death if he comes. He knows this. Chu Yunxiu shook her head gently, but she was very depressed. The Heavenly Star Palace and Li Longyuan shouldn't have made such a big fuss, because this would scare Jiang Tian so much that he wouldn't dare to come at all. It would be better to take them by surprise and kill their way to their doorstep. Not only did Chu Yunxiu think so, but Zhou Yunkai also thought so. He smiled disdainfully and said, "This time, the few senior brothers of the Heavenly Star Palace who were in seclusion have all come out. Almost all of them are late-stage foundation establishment cultivators and fake elixir realm cultivators. The prodigy role has been refreshed. Not to mention that there are senior masters like Grand Master Gong Xian from the Devil Suppressing Temple. I'm afraid any one of the masters on the prodigy role this time can crush Kong Teichu into powder." Beside him, the other 8 prodigies all smiled disdainfully, too lazy to judge Jiang Tian. Almost all of them were at the 8th or 9th stage of foundation establishment cultivators, and there was even one fake elixir realm cultivator. Their auras were as heavy as mountains, and some were as sharp as unsheathed swords. Each of them was comparable to a sect master or a sect master. In this hall, everyone was from the younger generation. Almost all of them were at the foundation establishment cultivator level, and there were dozens of them. However, it was obvious that the 9 prodigies of the Heavenly Star Palace were the leaders. Zheng Renwang, who was in the back row, slammed the table and snorted. "That Kong Teichu is here. I'll kill him first. A mere ant from the Earth domain dares to cause trouble in the Heavenly Star domain. He's courting death." Among the crowd, only Ding Lingdong's face was cold and bitter. Now, she was already under the control of the Heavenly Star Palace and had been beaten to the ground. Everyone looked at her with eyes full of schadenfreude, inquiry, disdain, and mockery. In everyone's eyes, the Ding Lai clan could be said to be complete idiots. They actually chose to team up with an ant from Earth and become enemies with the Heavenly Star Palace. This was tantamount to an ant trying to shake a tree. They were seeking their own deaths. Thousands of immortals have gathered. Such a glorious occasion has not been seen for hundreds of years. Many sect masters, city lords, and sect masters were very excited. They greeted each other and called out to their friends. They were in high spirits. It seemed that Li Longyuan's plundering these years was not completely meaningless. Although the lower levels were in dire straits and the people had no way of making a living, at least the upper levels had become very powerful. It seemed that within 10 years, the Heavenly Star Small World could produce 10 golden core cultivators and be promoted to a third-level hidden cultivation sect. Meanwhile, Jiang Haishan and his son brought the Qiao siblings, the Stinky Monkey, and the others to Qingxiu Mountain in disguise. However, Jiang Haishan and the others did not dare to climb up the bamboo peak. They just blended in with the crowd on the secondary peak. Sigh, it's really an inescapable net. I hope Immortal Master Jiang doesn't come. Jiang Haishan's face was very solemn. He sighed and said, as long as Immortal Master Jiang is still alive, there will be a chance to turn the tables in 10 years. But if he comes this time, I'm afraid it's not good. I think Big Brother Jiang will definitely come. Qiao Yingluo shook her head. Her eyes flashed with worry. But Jiang Haishan glanced at her. City Lord Ding Lai has been exposed and is under the control of others. Qiao Yingluo sighed gloomily. Although Big Brother Jiang is ruthless to his enemies, he will never let his comrades suffer. Sigh. City Lord Ding Lai. But at this time, Immortal Master Jiang should not lose the big picture for small gains. Jiang Haishan heard this and could not help but let out a long sigh. He admired Jiang Tian very much, but he was even more worried. Chapter 949. From Jiang Haishan's point of view, his worries were not unfounded. Although there was only a difference of 1 level between Foundation Establishment and Golden Core, the difference in strength was like heaven and earth. Although a Foundation Establishment cultivator had 1 foot in the door of cultivation, they were as weak as a 3-year-old child. As for Golden Core cultivators, their true essence condensed into an essence core, which was refined by heavenly lightning and earthly fire. It was extremely condensed. The golden core in the Dantian was extremely condensed and was the essence of a solid state. It could release true essence as vast as the sea, and its lethality was extremely terrifying. Comparing Foundation Establishment and Golden Core was like comparing a newborn baby to boxing champion Mike Tyson. The latter could kill it with a single finger. Moreover, there were rumors outside that Jiang Tian was only at the early stage of Foundation Establishment, and that demonic qi had entered his body and caused him to be severely injured. There was no chance of winning at all. At this moment, the main hall of Green Hill was filled with heavenly music and jingling ornaments. The main hall of Green Hill was hundreds of acres wide, supported by jade pillars carved with dragons and phoenixes. Tables and chairs were carved from crystals, and the floor was paved with white jade. Ancient Tao patterns flickered on it, and dense waves of immortal qi were emitted. The top floor of Jade Well Peak was already considered luxurious, but compared to Green Hill Palace, it was much worse. It felt like a nouveau riche. At this moment, there were about 1,000 late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivators gathered here. It could be said that there were as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. Under the lead of the former abbot of Demon Suppression Temple, Master Shi Xiang, many senior monks had already entered the main hall and sat in the front row. In the front row, there were about a dozen experts, and their auras were the strongest. Some were blazing with flames, some were suffused with Buddhist light, and some had sword qi that pierced through the sky. Female Celestial Annihilation Desire, Shin Tej, Master Ashen Pine, and City Lord Ding Lai were all there. However, at this moment, City Lord Ding Lai's expression was solemn and nervous. He looked at the expert in golden dragon robes on the high platform. Li Longyuan. He sat upright on the golden dragon throne. His aura was like a dragon, and his majesty was overwhelming. When he opened and closed his eyes, they were bright and dazzling, as if stars were flickering. At this moment he was like an ancient god, controlling life and death with his words. Ding Lai, you're in cahoots with the ants of earth. You're my enemy. Your crimes are unforgivable. Li Longyuan said coldly. However, as long as you realize your mistakes and sincerely correct them, I will be merciful and not kill you. Ha, what crime have I committed? Anger rose from Ding Lai's heart. He stood up and said coldly, Li Longyuan, answer me. Do you really think you're a god? Are all your actions right? I'm not a god. Li Longyuan shook his head and chuckled. If you're in the wrong, why can't you admit it? Ding Lai said coldly. My youngest daughter was only a few years old. Just because she said something bad about you, the feather guard executed her on the street. Is that reasonable? Emotionally, I'm heartbroken. After all, she's also my junior. Li Longyuan pondered for a moment, then slowly said, That's right. But in terms of righteousness, I've never regretted it. I don't think I've done anything wrong. He revealed a sorrowful expression and said in a low voice, The heavenly star small world had already begun to decay when the demons invaded 1,000 years ago. Only when it's promoted to a level 3 small world of cultivation can we obtain a new place to live. I'm not plundering the world for me, Li Longyuan. I'm doing it for the billions of people. I'm doing it for the next 100 years, the next 1,000 years. My merit is unparalleled in 1,000 years. I'm the only one. His eyes gradually sharpened and he said coldly, After everything is done, it doesn't matter if the world hates me, blames me, or slander me. But before everything is done, no one is allowed to interfere. I can't mess with the people's hearts. He narrowed his eyes and said slowly, 2 days ago your sister, my cultivation partner, Ding Xuanyu, pleaded for you and Kong Teichu. She interfered in politics. Do you know what happened to her? Ding Lai suddenly had a bad premonition. He said coldly, What did you do to her? I took her head and made it into a cup of wine. Li Longyuan patted his storage bag and a beautiful woman's head flew out. Fairy Xuanyu's face was extremely beautiful. Her pair of beautiful eyes were still open, full of despair and unwillingness. It was as if she couldn't believe that she was killed. The whole place was dead silent. Everyone was frightened and did not dare to look directly at him. Even the heartless Mieu felt a chill in his heart. His right hand that was holding the teacup trembled violently. Even the Master of Salvation, the profound Buddhist Master Shixiong, lowered his head and played with the prayer beads while chanting Buddha's name. You killed her. You actually killed her. You're worse than a beast. Ding Lai's eyes were about to split open and he was about to go crazy. Ding Xuanyu was the most beautiful woman in Heavenly Star and a cultivation genius. She and Li Longyuan supported each other and slept on the same bed for more than 10 years. But he had actually been mercilessly killed by him. This is the result of doubting me. This is the result of disloyal people. Li Longyuan's expression did not change. He picked up the wine pot and poured the sweet and clear wine into his neck cavity. He grabbed the head of his beloved wife and slowly drank a mouthful of the wine mixed with blood. He said coldly, In this world, only my voice can be heard. My words are like gold and jade. No one can doubt me. The power of the world, promote to a level 3 cultivation hidden sect at all costs. All of you must be unwavering and follow through to the end. Do not waver in the slightest. Ding Lai, do you know your mistake now? If you do, kneel. The last was very light. At this moment, Li Longyuan and Ding Lai were 100 meters apart. But to Ding Lai, this was like a clap of thunder in his ears. It shook his eardrums until they were buzzing. An enormous aura of a golden core cultivator pressed down on his shoulders like 10,000 mountains, causing the bones in his body to creak and his legs to tremble, almost collapsing and breaking. I won't kneel. I'm not wrong. Aren't you saying that water can carry a boat, but it can also sink it? Blood oozed out from the corner of Ding Lai's mouth. He shouted angrily, You're heartless and unscrupulous. Sooner or later, everyone will see your true colors and kill you. They will overthrow your tyranny. Water can sink a boat? Who can destroy me? Kong Teichu? Li Longyuan's face was full of disdain. He stood up and a violent wave of air pushed out. Li Longyuan shouted coldly. Who does Kong Teichu think he is? He's just an ant on earth. You still think he's your master? You're short-sighted. Ding Lai, Do you know that Kong Taechu has become the target of public criticism after killing Master Pudu? Miayu snorted. Even if he's a golden core cultivator, if he dares to come today, we'll tear him to pieces. The sect leader of the Quakedan sect shouted. Kneel and admit your mistake. Many sect master-level experts shouted angrily. In an instant, everyone unleashed their true essence and put pressure on Ding Lai. Ding Lai trembled all over and was about to kneel when he couldn't withstand the pressure. A violent sound wave struck like rolling thunder, shocking the 9 heavens and 10 enemies. It spread throughout the entire Qingqiu mountain. Kong Taechu has come to visit the mountain. At this instant, the entire scene became solemn. Everyone was dumbstruck, and it was deathly silent. Kong Taechu really dares to come? Chu Yunxiu's mouth twitched crazily as she looked at the figure in the sky. At that moment, Jiang Tian was wearing a plain long robe. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyebrows were sharp like swords. He looked handsome. He walked up the straight mountain path. He didn't look aggressive, as if he was an immortal who didn't belong to the mortal world. He's here to die. Chu Yunxiu's eyes were full of disdain and ecstasy. She was afraid that Jiang Tian wouldn't come, but she didn't expect Jiang Tian to come. Chapter 950. Jiang Tian was still at the top of the stairs and there were a few hundred more steps to go up. Together with the stairs of the Green Hill Palace, there were more than 2,000 steps. Li Zixing was obviously trying to humiliate Jiang Tian and intimidate Jiang Tian so that Jiang Tian would realize his situation. Why aren't you kneeling? Do you want to die? Jiang Tian's lips curled into a mocking smile. Before he could say anything, Li Zixing had already roared loudly. He was a 9th-level foundation establishment cultivator and was only a step away from the sect masters and the city lords. He was on par with many elites. At this moment, a violent pressure was being emitted. Many people had a suffocating feeling that they couldn't breathe properly. Ding Lingdang stood up angrily and flew to Jiang Tian's side. She shouted at Li Zixing. Commander Li, Immortal Master Jiang is here to negotiate on behalf of Earth. He isn't a criminal. Why are you humiliating him like this? But Li Zixing glanced at her and sneered mockingly. Because he's an ant from Earth and his level is too low. I can bully him. What do you think? Aren't you taking advantage of someone's precarious position to bully them? What kind of righteous sect are you? What kind of seniors are you? Ding Lingdang said angrily. Why didn't you kill Immortal Master Jiang when he was still a cultivator? Now that he's seriously injured and his power is gone, you jump out. Get out. Li Zixing's furious roar directly shook Ding Lingdang until her qi and blood surged, and she stumbled back. He said with disdain, Of course I'm taking advantage of him. Of course I'm bullying him. Do you think I'll kill him when he's at his strongest? Li Zixing looked down at Jiang Tian like a god, and mocked him as much as he could. I'm going to bully you. Hee, the feeling of stepping on the number 1 ant on Earth is really nice. At this moment, numerous gazes converged onto Jiang Tian. Some were inquiring, some were regretful, some were mocking, and some were taking pleasure in his misfortune. This person turned out to be the number 1 person in the world of Earth. It could be said that he was unparalleled in the limelight, but he acted recklessly and made an enemy of the heavenly star small world. Now that he was being humiliated like this, it was simply too miserable. Wasn't it good to be the best in the world on Earth? Why did you come here to court death? Too stupid. You will suffer retribution sooner or later. Ding Lingdang still wanted to say something. However, Jiang Tian pulled her behind him and said indifferently, That's enough, Ling. With just these little trash, they can't bully me. Kong Taechu, you are really arrogant. Don't you understand the situation in front of you? At this moment, a chuckle was heard. Miayu was escorted out of the Green Hill Palace by a few disciples. He looked down at Jiang Tian and mocked him. In the beginning, I gave you many chances to take you in as a disciple, but you rejected me. Miayu's face was full of sarcasm. She sneered and said, You are too arrogant and don't know when to stop. It can be said that one wrong step led to many wrong steps. Now, you have walked to the opposite side of the entire stellar sky domain. Have you ever thought of today's outcome? Outcome? Jiang Tian looked at Miaoyu and Miao Yi behind her with a mocking look. He chuckled and said, I am a little curious what will happen to me today. Kong Teichu, why did you come? Miao Yi's face was full of distress. She sighed helplessly in her heart. She had already persuaded her master many times, but Miaoyu was stubborn and didn't listen at all. There was nothing she could do. But Kong Teichu, don't you know how dangerous this gathering is? Why did you come? Miaoyu didn't say anything. What outcome? Chu Yunxiu had already stood up. She leaned against the railing and looked down at Jiang Tian. She sneered mockingly. Kong Teichu, do you still think you were the #1 person in the Earth domain back then? You have already been invaded by the demonic aura. You have lost all your cultivation. Besides, even if your cultivation is still there, how can you be a match for these prodigies, sect lords, and city lords? You have been relying on elixirs and secret techniques to forcefully raise your cultivation, but you have to understand that this is like killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. Sooner or later, you will be exposed. Chu Yonghui, on the other hand, ran down the stairs and stopped in front of Jiang Tian, mocking him. Kong Teichu, oh Kong Teichu, I didn't expect you to be so stubborn and arrogant even when you are about to die. I really admire you for this. Chu Yunxiu looked at Zhou Yunkai with a face full of admiration, then mocked Jiang Tiandao. Kong Teichu, not to mention the sect lords, even the golden core perfected immortal Li Longyuan, Zhou Yunkai and the other prodigies are not something an ant like you can compare to. Zhou Yunkai originally didn't want to fight with a weakling like Jiang Tian. He didn't want to lose face. After all, he was third on the prodigy list. If he bullied Jiang Tian, who had lost all his cultivation, there would be gossip. Fine, I will go and humiliate this person and win a smile from the beauty. But when he saw Chu Yunxiu's tender gaze, Zhou Yunkai's heart was suddenly filled with passion. He grabbed the woman's waist and flew over. Chu Yunxiu could see that he was interested in her. The more she thought about it, the prouder she became. That long-lost sense of superiority came again. Kong Teichu, are you still so arrogant? Can you still slap me like you did on Jadewell Peak? Why can't I? Jiang Tian laughed. He raised his hand and slapped Chu Yunxiu dozens of meters away. She landed on the square like a dead dog. Bastard! Chu Yonghui was shocked and angry. His expression changed drastically. He was shocked because Jiang Tian seemed to still have some cultivation. He was angry because Jiang Tian dared to beat his daughter in public. You are the one who has lost all your cultivation. How dare you be so rash? Before he finished speaking, Jiang Tian had already slapped Chu Yonghui to Chu Yunxiu's side. How about it? Jiang Tian walked up step by step. He looked at the two people whose faces were stained with blood mockingly. He said indifferently, I could beat you that day, and I can still beat you now. An ant should have the self-awareness of an ant. Lie on the ground and don't make a sound. Die silently. How dare you provoke me? Zhou Tianjiao, why did you? Chu Yunxiu was extremely miserable. The blood on her face dyed the ground red. She looked at Zhou Yunkai and shouted. Kong Teichu, you didn't lose your cultivation. Or is your physical body strong? Zhou Yunkai was also shocked. He looked at Jiang Tian cautiously. Just now, he clearly used a technique and emitted a monstrous amount of sword energy to set up a defense around Chu Yonghui and his daughter. Especially after seeing Chu Yunxiu being slapped to the ground, he strengthened his defenses and pushed his cultivation base to the limit. But Jiang Tian ignored his defense and easily broke through it twice in a row. He hit Chu Yunxiu and his daughter. Also, he could feel that Jiang Tian didn't use any technique at all. He only used his physical strength. But his physical strength was able to break through the defense of the third-ranked Heaven's favorite? This was too terrifying. You ant, you have no right to talk to me. Jiang Tian dragged Ding Lingdang onto the square of life and death. He said coldly, Get out of my way. Kong Teichu, how dare you humiliate me? You're courting death. Zhou Yunkai's face was filled with rage. He flew to the square and blocked Jiang Tian's path. A sharp sword intent surged out from his body. No matter what, he was still the third on the heaven's favorite list. Even the city lord and the sect leader had to be polite when they saw him. He had never been so disrespected and humiliated. All of a sudden, a chilling aura filled the air as the sword chi revealed its sharpness. Within a radius of a few hundred meters, a chilling aura filled the air as many experts retreated. Don't worry. It'll be your turn soon. Jiang Tian didn't care about Zhou Yunkai's sharp sword energy. He didn't even look at it. He didn't care at all. Bang, bang. Jiang Tian stepped forward and kicked Chu Yonghui and his daughter, causing them to vomit blood and scream miserably. Kang Teichu, good, very good. Keep hitting. How many times you hit me today? I'll pay you back 10 times, 100 times. Chu Yonghui screamed. Jiang Tian raised his eyebrows and was about to kill. However, Ding Lingdang grabbed Jiang Tian and begged softly, Big brother Jiang, don't be rash. My father is still in Li Longyuan's hands. Jiang Tian slowly retracted his murderous intent. He pulled Ding Lingdang and walked toward the Green Hill Hall. However, he didn't expect that the Feathercoat Guards and Li Zixing had already attacked. Bastard, stop right there. How dare you beat up a VIP of the Green Hill Association in front of the Feathercoat Guards? Do you think we're useless? Do you think you can meet Palace lordly like this? Kneel down and kowtow every step before you can enter the hall. Many feather robe guards blocked Jiang Tian from the front and shouted angrily. Li Zixing stood behind Jiang Tian. His face was dark and his eyes were like a venomous snake's. Suddenly, without saying a word, his figure flashed like a ghost and pierced through Jiang Tian's heart from the back with his sword. This was the specialty of the Feathercoat Guards. They were proficient in the art of assassination. He was like a dormant venomous snake, waiting patiently. When the opportunity came, he would strike decisively. It was silent and there was no howling wind, but it was extremely vicious and impossible to guard against. At this moment, several Feathercoat Guards are confronting Jiang Tian and attracting Jiang Tian's attention. Li Zixing is attacking from behind. In addition to his strength, it can be said that Kang Teichu has no chance of survival. Many experts were shocked. Attacking me? You're really confident. Jiang Tian didn't even turn his head. He just reached behind him and made a grabbing motion. A vast force appeared out of nowhere and grabbed at Li Zixing. Li Zixing suddenly felt alarmed. His vast true yuan erupted and protected his body. He also poured it into his sword. However, it couldn't withstand a single blow. Bang! With a bang, the sword cracked and shattered. The fragments fluttered like butterflies. Then, Li Zixing was grabbed by Jiang Tian's true yuan palm as if he had fallen into the claws of an ancient demonic beast. Li Zixing was shocked. His aura surged like a raging tide, trying to break free from Jiang Tian's true yuan palm. However, it was useless. Bang! Bam! He was lifted up high by Jiang Tian and smashed on the ground like a dead dog. He screamed, Li Zixing, you want me to kowtow with every step? Otherwise, you'll kill me? Do you think I'm an ant? Jiang Tian raised his foot and stepped on his head. Boom! With a loud sound, he stepped on the hard ground. Blood spurted out. Jiang Tian stepped on a pool of blood and sneered, What about now? Who's under my foot? Whose face is being stepped on? Chapter 951. Everyone was shocked. They couldn't believe it. This kid's battle prowess is still so strong? He was actually able to crush the treasured sword of Li Zixing, a 9th-level foundation establishment cultivator, and capture him like an eagle catching a chick. Li Zixing couldn't fight back at all. What's going on? At that moment, even the 8 prodigies stood up and stared at Jiang Tian in shock. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. His true essence was still there. Did he not lose his cultivation? Could it be that the effects of the Yuan Burst pill still hadn't subsided? Bastard, let go of me! Li Zixing shouted angrily. His eyes were spitting fire and his face was hideous. Streams of surging true yuan burst out from his body like twinkling stars, like a giant dragon surging. He was Li Longyuan's nephew and the commander of the Feather Gown Guards. He was like a special intelligence agency in this world that monitored all the cultivators in the world. When had he ever been humiliated and trampled on like this? Kong Taechu, I swear I'll torture you with 100 kinds of torture methods of the Feather Gown Guards. I'll eat your flesh, sleep on your skin, and grind your bones to dust. Jiang Tian didn't say anything and directly stomped his head into the hard stone floor. Blood spurted out and his cheekbones were all broken. Li Zixing screamed like a pig being slaughtered. At this time, everyone in the square finally reacted. Fellow cultivator, since you want to talk about Dao and fight, don't lose face. Immortal Master Jiang, why don't you let Li Zixing go first? The sect master of the giant sword sect, Master Ashen Pine, appeared from the Green Hill Palace and looked at Jiang Tian with a smile. This time, you're here to talk to Li Longyuan and the other sect masters on an equal footing. You're very senior. It's too degrading to fight with a junior. The Quake Dawn sect master scolded. Kong Taechu, let go of Li Zixing. Do you know he's my master's nephew? The 8 geniuses roared in unison. The furious Wave City Lord, Sing Hongyuan, looked down at Jiang Tian and waved his hand. If you dare to kill again, the entire Heavenly Star small world will not rest until you are dead. In an instant, countless Castellan and Ancestor-level experts were trying to intimidate Jiang Tian. Monstrous waves of pressure crashed down on Jiang Tian like a tsunami. Immortal Master Jiang, let Li Zixing go. We can still discuss this. Nearby, Zhou Yunkai also spoke coldly. If you have the guts, then fight me. I'll let you, an ant from the Earth world, know what true swordsmanship is. He activated his cultivation technique, and small swords flew out from the sword sheath on his back like swimming fish. There were hundreds of them, and they formed a 3-feet-long sword in his hand. It was also a mother-son sword. He said with disdain, I'll let you know that your sword Dao is nothing but an unorthodox sword Dao in front of me. It's nothing. The 3-foot-long sword trembled slightly and flickered with a cold light. Space rippled violently as if it had been sliced apart by the enormous and sharp sword Qi. The small fish-like swords were originally of normal size, but after being refined to the extreme, they formed a mother sword that weighs 10,000 pounds. The Li River Sword Sect Master's eyes widened as he exclaimed. In front of such a terrifying sword Qi and sword intent, he even felt that it was difficult to catch up and that he was past his prime. He said with a bitter face, Ah, the Heavenly Star Palace is too powerful. He's just a young prodigy, yet he's able to suppress us. Kong Taechu's sword Dao is just an unorthodox sword Dao. How can it compare to Zhou Yunkai's sword Dao? Master Yuan Jing of the Prajna Temple smiled bitterly and shook his head. Ah, if Kong Taechu is given some time, I'm afraid that not many people in this world can stop him. Sect Master Shi of the Snake Sect sighed with regret. It's a pity that he's too flashy and doesn't know how to be tactful. Zhou Yunkai can be called a sword immortal. He's too powerful. Many people were shocked and dumbfounded. Did you see that? Kong Taechu, how many experts have come this time? Hurry up and kneel and submit. Chu Yunxiu laughed maniacally. Kong Taechu, let me go. Just now, you caught me off guard. If we had fought fairly, I would have beaten the shit out of you. Li Zixing roared in rage. His position was special. He was in charge of all investigations. Even sect masters and city lords were somewhat afraid of him. But now, in front of tens of thousands of people, Jiang Tian had stepped on him. This was truly an unbearable humiliation. Zhou Yunkai, you're worthy of being called a sword immortal? Am I an unorthodox sword Dao? Jiang Tian looked contemptuously at Zhou Yunkai and smiled. You don't even have the right to make me use my sword. Why would I need to use my sword to kill you? Haha, I even dared to kill the Azure Mystic Dao child, let alone an ant like you. Jiang Tian swept his gaze over the crowd, and then revealed a disdainful expression. Suddenly he stomped down again. Bang! Blood gushed out like a tide. Broken bones and internal organs flew everywhere. This time, Li Zixing's chest was pierced by Jiang Tian's foot. His whole body sank into the ground, forming a human-shaped pit. But after all, he was a cultivator. He didn't die, but was still screaming. "How dare you!" Countless people shouted angrily. "How dare you ignore me? You're courting death." Zhou Yunkai was furious and directly attacked. Clang. The 3-foot mother sword in his hand was as heavy as a mountain, but in his hand, it was as light as a snake. The long sword stabbed out. Suddenly, there were flashes of cold light in the air. It stretched for 100 meters and strangled toward Jiang Tian. Wherever the blade passed, the space seemed to be destroyed. Fierce wind poured in like a tide. Within 100 meters, overlords in the middle or early stage of the foundation establishment stage couldn't withstand the attraction and wanted to fly over. Moreover, they felt a pressure coming from inside their bodies. It seemed that their eyes were about to explode, their internal organs were expanding, their blood and urine were about to flow out, and their skin was about to burst because of the blood vessels. Zhou Yunkai's sword Dao is so powerful and fast. It's so fast that it created a huge vacuum. Master Ashen Pine of the Giant Sword Sect had a look of admiration. He clapped his hands and said, "The surrounding air flows in reverse, so everyone feels that the pressure inside and outside is out of balance." The sect leader of the Li River Sword Sect was dazzled, but his eyes were wide open. He didn't miss a single detail. This kind of sword Dao is much more powerful than those powerful moves that shake the heavens and the earth. Prodigies like Zhou Yunkai were the trump cards of the Starry Sky Palace's younger generation. They rarely showed themselves. It was a rare opportunity for him to learn the true meaning of the Starry Sky Palace's sword Dao. The sect leader of the Li River Sword Sect sighed in amazement. It's attacking from all directions. Although it seems powerful and destructive, the power is scattered. When the Dao techniques and sword techniques attack the opponent, they've already caused a lot of weakening. Zhou Yunkai's sword intent, true yuan, and strength are all highly concentrated on the sword. There's no loss at all. His sword Dao has reached the pinnacle. His control is too precise. At the side, Master Yuan Jing, the snake sect leader, and the others nodded in amazement. Is that all? Jiang Tian did not move at all. He let the countless sword qi attack his body without moving at all. In the blink of an eye, the sharp tip of the sword was less than an inch away from Jiang Tian's chest. At this moment, Jiang Tian raised his jade-white right hand and clamped down on the sword. "You're humiliating me." Seeing this, Zhou Yunkai's expression changed. He was shocked and angry. "He's too arrogant." The crowd also exclaimed. At this moment, Jiang Tian didn't use any true yuan or divine ability. He was completely relying on his physical body to block the sword qi. He was using the strength of one hand to control Zhou Yunkai's swords. This was too arrogant, too condescending. Go to hell. However, Zhou Yunkai was so angry that he laughed. His sword was like a stream of light as it rushed forward. Jiang Tian used his physical body to take on his sword move and sword intent. This was clearly looking down on him. "Are you trying to humiliate me? Then you'll have to pay with your life." Zhou Yunkai made up his mind. His sword Dao, strength, and speed had all reached the limit of what he could achieve. But suddenly, Jiang Tian's thumb and middle finger clamped down on the sword. How is this possible? Zhou Yunkai's face flushed red. He used his true yuan and used all his strength. However, his swords couldn't be stabbed or pulled out. They were fixed between Jiang Tian's crystal-clear fingers. It was as if they were stuck in a 10,000-ton boulder. Kong Teichu's physical body and strength are so strong? Master Ashen Pine and the other experts were shocked. To be honest, Zhou Yunkai's sharp sword was something that even the sect leader, and city lord would have to be cautious and tired of dealing with. I've said that Kong Teichu is very strong and has excellent talent. Master Desolator glanced at Master Ashen Pine and said lightly, "What a pity. A strong physical body belongs to the category of martial arts. And this is a battle of magical powers. It's about true yuan and divine abilities." Sure enough, Zhou Yunkai also revealed a mocking expression. He snorted and said, "Kong Teichu, no matter how strong your physical body is, You're not a match for a cultivator. Go to hell. Suddenly, he used his divine ability. Thousands of Taoist flying swords were like startled bees on a beehive. They scattered with a buzz. Then, they turned the tip of their swords one after another. The densely packed swords pierced toward Jiang Tiandong from all directions. With so many flying swords, it simply gave people a feeling of being unable to dodge. Kong Teichu, how can you imagine the divine abilities of a sword cultivator in the cultivation world? Zhou Yunkai looked down on Jiang Tian as if he was already a dead man. You're not worthy of using a sword. But at this moment, Jiang Tian flicked his fingers as if he was playing a pipa. Pa, 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 pa. Dense explosions erupted one after another. Every flying sword cracked and exploded the moment the sound rang out. In an instant, it was as if a string of firecrackers had been set off around Jiang Tian. Bang bang bang. Sparks flew everywhere. How is this possible? What Dharma treasure did you use to break my flying swords? Zhou Yunkai turned pale with fright. Every time a sound rang out, a flying sword would shatter. In an instant, he had lost contact with thousands of flying swords. I've said before, do I need a sword to kill you? Jiang Tian smiled mockingly. His right hand paused, and leaves floated in the air. What? Flying leaves breaking 1,000 swords. Everyone was shocked. The 8 prodigies were all shocked. Cold sweat had already covered their backs. Kong Teichu had just used leaves to break Zhou Yunkai's flying swords with a flick of his fingers. How was this possible? Not to mention Miao Yi Chu Yunxiu and the other young prodigies, even the seniors on the heavenly law ranking were stunned. They couldn't believe it. Master Ashen Pine, Nie Yu, the Quake Dan sect leader, Yuan Jing, and the others were all dazed. They stood there like clay statues. Chapter 952. How is this possible? You, an ant from Earth, how could you break my flying sword with a leaf? Zhou Yunkai couldn't believe it. He screamed like a cat that had been set on fire. He felt like he was disillusioned. His head was muddled and the world was spinning. He couldn't take the blow. He had cultivated in seclusion for 10 years and finally reached 3rd place on the prodigy roll. He came out of seclusion to attend the gathering to amaze the world. But he didn't expect that the flying sword he had cultivated for 10 years would be broken by Jiang Tian with a leaf in a second. That was the flying sword he had refined 1,000 times. Even an ordinary sword wouldn't be able to break it, let alone his Dharma treasure flying sword. Zhou Yunkai, he hasn't lost his cultivation. He's still very powerful. Step back quickly. In the end, Master Ashen Pine was the first to react. His body shook as he shouted a warning. In fact, Zhou Yunkai also realized this. His face was pale as he retreated quickly like a ghost. But it was too late. Jiang Tian's lips curled into a mocking smile. Thousands of leaves shot toward him like a rain of swords. Zhou Yunkai screamed. The leaves pierced through the light shield emitted by many protective Dharma treasures and pierced into his meridians and acupoints. Then, they flew out with a cloud of blood. Zhou Yunkai was like a dead dog. He was carried dozens of meters away by the leaves and fell to the edge of the square. Flying leaves broke thousands of swords, stepped on the leader of the feather uniform guards, single-handedly defeated the 3rd place prodigy roll, and defeated him in one move. The whole place was dead silent. The tens of thousands of cultivators on the various peaks were silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. They were shocked to the extreme and couldn't believe it. What's going on? Isn't he at the 2nd level of the foundation establishment stage and has lost all his cultivation? I heard that demonic chi entered his body and he vomited blood. He's seriously injured. What's going on? After a long time, everyone came to their senses. They were confused and whispered to each other. Not to mention that they were confused, even those sect and city lord level powerhouses didn't understand what was going on. Jiang Tian had clearly not emitted any true essence, nor had he used any divine ability, so how had he been able to control these leaves and form such a terrifying lethality? In Green Hill Palace, only Master Ashen Pine looked at Desolate Desire with dissatisfaction and said, Desolate desire, you're mistaken. His cultivation is not only at the second level of foundation establishment. Master Ashen Pine, don't stare. Can you tell me what's going on? As you can see, he's not releasing any aura at all. Demonic desire also had a look of suspicion. Could it be that he had seen wrongly? Did Kang Taechu have an extremely powerful chi restraining cultivation technique? At the edge of the life and death arena, Zhou Yunkai staggered to his feet. Cultivators were cultivators after all. Even if they were beaten into a sieve, they were still full of vigor and could still hold on. His face alternated between green, red, and white like a crazy chameleon. He was ranked third on the prodigy list and represented the Starry Sky Palace to pressure Jiang Tian. Facing a piece of trash who had lost all his cultivation, facing an abandoned person from the Earth realm, and using the flying sword technique that he was best at, he actually lost to Jiang Tian's leaf. He couldn't even withstand a single move. And Jiang Tian was still stepping on Li Zixing, controlling the leaves with only one hand. I'm an ant? I can't even withstand a single blow? You're a sword immortal? You're a supreme sword Dao? Jiang Tian stepped on Li Zixing and looked at Zhou Yunkai with a face full of mockery as he spoke indifferently. Kangtu, I'm going to pull out your tendons, skin you alive, and grind your bones to dust. Zhou Kaiyun's anger soared to the sky, and his sword aura surged. A monstrous murderous aura soared into the sky, stirring up the clouds and shattering them. At this moment, Zhou Qian was simply aggrieved to the extreme. An ant from Earth used a few leaves to break 1,000 of his flying swords. This was a great humiliation to him. This would make him the laughingstock of the heavenly star small world. Even if he died, he would still become a joke and be talked about forever. Boom! Zhou Kaiyun made his move. The surrounding sword aura surged and suddenly turned into thousands of sword auras that pierced towards Jiang Tian. The lethality of these sword auras surpassed the flying swords. And there were so many of them that they covered the sky and earth. They were so dense that they covered Jiang Tian like a torrential downpour. These sword auras were faintly blood red. This meant that Zhou Qian had already used his natal sword aura and almost exhausted all his blood essence. Is this all you've got? Jiang Tian's lips curled into a disdainful smile as he waved his hand. Boom! The sword auras that could cut through steel and penetrate tanks cracked and shattered under Jiang Tian's sleeves. The fragments danced in the air like withered leaves. Come on! Jiang Tian opened his right hand and slapped Zhou Kaiyun, who was spitting blood and had a pale face, into his hand. Kang Taechu, let go of me! Zhou Kaiyun screamed. At this moment, all the blood essence in his body had been exhausted by the attack just now. He was as weak as a 3-year-old child and was at the mercy of others. Jiang Tian slapped Zhou Kaiyun's face and sneered, "My sword art is unorthodox?" Zhou Kaiyun flew out like a scarecrow. He lay on the ground like a dead dog and spat out a bunch of teeth. I'm an ant from Earth? Now, do you still think so? Speak. Jiang Tian walked over and stepped on his face as he snorted. Seeing Jiang Tian's cold gaze, Zhou Kaiyun's heart skipped a beat. His anger turned into cold sweat. Jiang Tian's gaze was indifferent. He knew that Jiang Tian would definitely dare to kill him. Speak! Jiang Tian shouted. You're not an ant. I'm the ant. Zhou Kaiyun was scared. He was really scared. He begged with a pitiful face. Chu Yunxiu, look carefully. This is what you're relying on. Jiang Tian caught Zhou Kaiyun in his palm and slammed him down like a chick. Gah! Zhou Kaiyun screamed. His body was covered in blood and his flesh was torn as he lay on the ground. At this moment, he could only breathe in and not out. He trembled and did not dare to resist at all. How could this be? Chu Yunxiu was dumbfounded. She could not believe it. At this moment, she felt like she was dreaming. Kang Taechu was actually so powerful that he could even crush the third-place prodigy. Could it be that his cultivation was not only at the second level of foundation establishment? His cultivation was still there. Desolation made a mistake. Kang Taechu's cultivation is at least at the pseudo-core level, and he's not injured. The combat power he's showing now is definitely comparable to the sect leaders. At this moment, at least the prodigies and young talents upstairs realized what was going on. They were stunned. Some had fear in their eyes, and cold sweat covered their backs. Some clenched their fists and tensed up. Zhou Kaiyun's cultivation was about the same as theirs. Zhou Kaiyun was beaten so badly by Jiang Tian. If they went up, they would only end up the same way. Didn't you want to pull out my tendons, skin me, and burn my bones to ashes? Then try it. Jiang Tian approached Zhou Kaiyun as if he was taking a stroll in the park. He was about to kill him. Kong Teichu, that's enough. Suddenly, Master Ashenpine's face darkened and he said coldly, Zhou Kaiyun has already lost and can't fight anymore. Why do you have to be so aggressive? He can't fight anymore, and I'm going to let him go. Jiang Tian looked at Master Ashenpine with contempt and mockery. He kicked Zhou Kaiyun until he spat out blood and his energy reserve shattered. What kind of logic are you talking about? Why didn't you stand out when everyone attacked me, a cripple who has lost all his cultivation? Kong Teichu, you've killed too many people and caused bloodshed time and time again. Today, I'm going to eliminate demons for the world and protect the righteous path. Master Ashenpine's face turned red, but he still refused to argue. Then she flew towards Jiang Tian with a murderous aura, as if she was going to attack Jiang Tian. Shameless. Darn Baldy, you're so shameless. At this moment, Ding Lai's angry roar suddenly sounded in the Green Hill Palace. Everyone was stunned, not knowing why or who he was scolding. All of a sudden, everyone realized that Jiang Tian's body suddenly froze and golden Buddhist light shrouded and suppressed him. Buddhist light formed a scroll of scriptures, large golden characters that surrounded Jiang Tian, bright and upright, blazing to the extreme. They were like numerous small suns, dazzling and resplendent. However, every word and symbol was very dignified and sonorous, emitting the sound of metal clashing and shining with a metallic luster. Lines of scriptures shuttled back and forth like ropes, entangling Jiang Tian rapidly and finally entangling Jiang Tian firmly. The previous abbot of the Demon Suppression Temple, the Master of Salvation, Master Shixiang's Buddhist restriction secret technique, the demon-slaying curse. Everyone's expression changed drastically as they suddenly realized. It turned out that Master Shixiang had taken advantage of Master Ashenpine's distraction to launch a sneak attack on Jiang Tian. Die! Master Ashenpine's eyes lit up and he roared. The giant sword behind him flew up and slashed towards Jiang Tian. Master Ashenpine's cultivation was at the perfected pseudo-core realm and was only slightly inferior to Li Longyuan. Furthermore, he took advantage of Jiang Tian being trapped by the demon-slaying curse and waited for him to be exhausted, increasing his power. With a sweep of the giant sword, the sword light was like a torrential torrent and the sword light was like a mountain pressing down. Jiang Tian was simply unable to dodge. Everything happened too quickly. Master Ashenpine and Master Shixiang's cooperation was too tacit. Many people couldn't react and were dumbfounded. After all, Master Ashenpine was the giant sword sect's leader. Master Shixiang was the previous abbot of the Demon Suppression Temple and his seniority was even higher than Li Longyuan's. Both of them were high and mighty figures in this world, the leaders of famous righteous sections. They were highly respected and were the targets of all cultivators in the world. Who would have thought that they would launch a sneak attack and attack together without saying a word? Kong Teichu, be careful. Miao Yi exclaimed with a sobbing tone. Qiao Yingluo's face was pale, and Ding Lingdang was trembling with anger. How can you do this? If you can't beat him, what's the point of plotting? Even Miayu didn't expect Master Ashenpine and Master Shixiang to be so despicable. His expression suddenly changed and he said angrily. At this moment, Jiang Tian's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and a violent primeval essence surged outwards like a nuclear explosion. The sutra ropes were like steel bars being pulled and twisted, making a teeth-numbing sound. Then, with a bang, the sutra ropes turned into fragments of golden light and exploded. The giant sword shattered. Master Ashenpine seemed to have been hit in the chest by an invisible cannonball and was sent flying. Chapter 953. Bang, bang, bang. Master Ashenpine landed on the ground and took more than 10 steps back. Every step he took created a big hole in the stone ground before he could stabilize himself. He felt something sweet in his throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. Jiang Tian's eyes were filled with killing intent. He stared at the Green Hill Palace and shouted, "Which bald donkey sneaked an attack? Come out and die." At that moment, Jiang Tian was really angry. If he hadn't broken through several levels after devouring the whirling divine tree, he might have died on the spot. "Kong Teichu, what are you doing? This is the Green Hill Grand Meet. You can't be rash." The elders and eminent monks of the Heavenly Star Palace, the Giant Sword Sect, and the demon-subduing temple all shouted angrily. At the same time, they were secretly frightened. Not only was Master Ashenpine sent flying, but Master Shixiang, who was in the main hall, was also panting heavily. A few drops of blood seeped out of the corners of his mouth. He was obviously suffering from the backlash of his dermic powers. Seeing this, they were all shocked to the core. Master Shixiang was a fake core cultivator, and his seniority was even higher than Li Longyuan's. It was just that after the battle against Bai Zhe 1,000 years ago, he went into seclusion. Jiang Tian's current combat power was more than 10 times that of when he defeated Zhou Kaiyan. Could it be that Kong Teichu's cultivation had surpassed a fake core cultivator and was a golden core cultivator? "Kong Teichu, this is the Green Hill Grand Meet. Powerful cultivators and exalted immortals are gathered here. You can't mess around." The deputy sect master of the Giant Sword Sect roared loudly. "Mess around?" Ding Lai's mocking voice was heard and he sneered. "Are you powerful cultivators or exalted immortals? Bah, you're just a bunch of despicable and shameless people who only know how to sneak attack. I'm glad that my name was removed from your list. I don't want to be with you at all." Ding Lai was agitated and cursed loudly. Jiang Tian stared at the Green Hill Palace and sneered. "Bald donkey, you're not coming out to die, are you?" There was no movement in the Green Hill Palace. After a while, Ding Lai's mocking voice rang out. "They're scared out of their wits. They're discussing how to deal with you together. Ha! If you don't come out, I'll kill my way in. I'll kill you until you have nowhere to run." Suddenly, Jiang Tian's monstrous killing intent soared to the sky. This killing intent could even be seen with the naked eye. The thousands of people on the life and death platform immediately felt that terrifying killing intent, austere and violent. Even the spectators from the other mountains, even if they were a kilometer away, felt their hearts palpitating and found it difficult to breathe. All at once, none of the 10,000 cultivators, champions and over 1,000 exalted immortals dared to utter a word. Master Ashenpine, Shintij, Tsinghongyuan, and the other sect and city masters all looked at Jiang Tian in shock. Their bodies were tense, and they were on full alert. They realized that they had miscalculated. In other words, Desolation had made a mistake, a serious mistake. The demon suppressing temple had also made a mistake. At first, it was demonic desire who swore that Jiang Tian was only at the second level of foundation establishment. Then, the demon-suppressing temple spread the news that Jiang Tian had been tainted by fiend qi at Crimson Thunder Mountain. As such, everyone thought that Jiang Tian's cultivation had dissipated after the fiend qi entered his body and he was now a cripple. However, who would have thought that even with Master Xiang and Master Ashenpine working together, Jiang Tian still had the advantage and was even suppressing them? At first, everyone was overbearing and mocking Kong Teichu because he had lost his cultivation and was easy to bully. But now, feeling Jiang Tian's terrifying aura, that vast and surging true essence, everyone was shocked. They were all scared. How was he a cripple? How was that the aura of a foundation establishment or false core? That was clearly the aura of a golden core. Oh, demonic desire, you're a scammer. At that moment, the wind howled like a tsunami. On Square Bamboo Peak, the boundless spirit chi between heaven and earth formed a gigantic funnel-shaped vortex with a radius of 3 kilometers, gathering above Jiang Tian's head. His strength is not affected at all. In fact, it's even stronger. At that moment, Chu Yunxiu was dumbfounded and her face was pale. As for Zhou Kaiyan and Li Zixing, they were wrapped in this vortex and spun like withered leaves. Blood dripped from their bodies as the true essence in their bodies flowed rapidly. If this continued, the two of them would die in less than 15 minutes. At that moment, Master Xiang in the Green Hill Palace was so shocked that his body was on the verge of collapsing. His face was pale as he said in a trembling voice, "This kid is so strong. I'm afraid we have to work together to suppress him. Palace Master Li, I'm afraid you have to do something." His sneak attack just now had succeeded, but it was shattered by Jiang Tian's violent true essence and mental energy. This was the difference between the quality of true essence and divine sense. Jiang Tian's true essence and divine sense were like refined steel, while theirs were like paper. This huge gap was not something he could make up for with various Buddhist techniques. Terrifying. Too terrifying. It's fine if you don't want to come out. Jiang Tian's handsome face was very dark. His gaze was as cold as a blade and his words were like spring thunder. Originally, I only wanted to kill a few culprits. But now I, Kang Teichu, don't mind going on a killing spree. Every word he uttered was like a giant cannon shooting across the sky. The rumbling sound waves had already materialized. Everything within 100 miles of the Green Hill Palace was shaking violently. From now on, all unrelated people must leave the Green Hill Palace within 3 minutes. Otherwise, you'll be my enemy and I'll kill without mercy. Jiang Tian uttered a mantra. His words were law. Waves of sound waves blasted towards the Green Hill Palace like torrential waves, stirring up waves of runes. In that instant, many protective arrays were activated, forming layers of light shields that enveloped the Green Hill Palace. However, the rest of the people outside the Green Hill Palace were not so lucky. Early stage and mid-stage foundation establishment cultivators were knocked unconscious and sprawled on the ground. As for Qi refinement cultivators, they vomited blood and cried for their parents. In fact, even a layer of the life and death ring was scraped off by the berserk sound waves like a typhoon. The cultivators of the small and medium-sized sects such as Snake Lust Sect, Li Riversword Sect, and Wisdom Temple were all horrified as they retreated on streaks of light. That was the terror of Jiang Tian. At that moment, he was merely accumulating power to warn everyone. However, the materialization of sound waves could already shake the world and cause torrential waves. 3 minutes are up. I'm going to kill everyone here. Leave no one alive. A moment later, Jiang Tian swept his cold gaze towards Mieu, Master Ashen Pine, Shen Tij, Cin Hongyuan and the others. What a terrifying gaze. Master, let's go. We could have stayed out of this. Fairy Miao Yi was only glanced at by Jiang Tian from the corner of his eye, but it was as if she had been stung by a poisonous scorpion. Her eyes, body and soul trembled in pain. Take your junior brothers and sisters and leave. I have to stay here today. Otherwise, a bitter smile appeared at the corner of Miu's mouth as he shook his head gently. She knew very well that if she left now, Li Longyuan would definitely not let her go. Jiang Tian would not let her go either. After all, she had spread the news that Jiang Tian's cultivation was only at the second stage foundation establishment realm. Whether it was Jiang Tian or the people of the Starry Sky Palace, they all hated her to the core. Fairy Miao Yi sighed softly and flew to Jiang Tian's side. She pleaded, "Immortal Master Jiang, can I take Ding Lingdang away? Don't worry, even if I die, I will ensure her safety." Jiang Tian's expression did not change as he sent out a gentle force, pushing the two women back several hundred meters. Then, without saying anything, he took a step forward and a torrential wave of air surged out. Bang! Li Zixing didn't even have the time to let out a shrill cry. He only let out a muffled groan before he directly exploded, transforming into a rain of sparkling and translucent flesh that rained down onto the ground. Jiang Tian was expressionless. He took a second step and waved his hand. Zhou Yunkai's ugly head flew 100 meters into the air, carrying a trail of blood. His body also exploded. Bang! Jiang Tian's eyes were cold as he took a third step. A dazzling golden sword light about 100 meters long condensed and swept towards Master Ashen Pine. Block! Master Ashen Pine cried out in shock. He used many defensive techniques one after another, and cyan light shields that were as heavy as cold iron overlapped and protected his body. At the same time, 7 or 8 Dharma treasures and spirit treasures exploded together, turning into restrictions and defenses to block. But everything was useless under Jiang Tian's sharp sword aura. The restrictions and defenses exploded like paper. Master Ashen Pine screamed and spat out blood. He flew backward like a rag doll, his skin and flesh were torn and blood flowed out. Even if he's not a golden core cultivator, his strength is comparable to a golden core cultivator. He was terrified and crawled back to the Green Hill Palace, looking at Jiang Tian in disbelief. He had never thought that Jiang Tian was so powerful. Kong Techu, it's not your turn to be presumptuous here. Suddenly, the 4 elders of the Heavenly Star Palace and the 8 new elites, a total of 12 people, jumped out and stabbed their swords at Jiang Tian. They were all peak stage foundation establishment cultivators and had even formed a fake core. They were from the same sect and often cultivated together. At this time, their jumping and stabbing movements were in sync. The sword chi gathered together and was as powerful as a golden core cultivator's attack. Open, open, open. Jiang Tian didn't stop. He took the 4th step and patted the sky-devouring demonic gourd. 9 flying swords whizzed through the air. The flying swords whizzed through the air like rainbows, sweeping, slashing, stabbing, and slashing wildly. It was dazzling. Clap, clap, clap. The sword chi of the 12 elites of the Heavenly Star Palace exploded in an instant. They didn't have a chance to gather at all. Poof, poof, poof. 5 geniuses and 3 elders were decapitated on the spot. They did not even have time to scream before their heads flew high into the air. Although the other 4 could still survive, they were still severely injured and covered in blood. They retreated toward the Green Hill Palace in horror. But the 9 flying swords swept out on their own and launched a second attack. The 4 elites didn't even run a few steps before their bodies exploded, turning into a crystal blood mist in the air. Jiang Tian had taken the 5th step. The 9 flying swords circled in the air and drew an elegant arc, attacking the hundreds of exalted immortals who had yet to escape. No! Grand Primordium Celestial Master, we're willing to surrender. Grand Primordium Celestial Master, we're willing to fight side by side with you. Some of these exalted immortals were from the Heavenly Star Palace, and some were from other small and medium-sized sections. But all of them were late-stage foundation establishment cultivators, and there was no lack of city lords and sect masters among them. But at this time, their guts were broken and their souls were about to leave their bodies. Jiang Tian had severely injured Master Ashen Pine with just 1 step and crushed the 4 elders and 8 elites of the Heavenly Star Palace. This kind of combat power was too shocking. He was completely at the golden core level. How would they dare to resist? I've already given you a chance. However, Jiang Tian was already enraged in his heart. How could he hold back? So, go to hell. Jiang Tian let out a short shout, and the flying sword madly attacked. Chapter 954. Jiang Tian's 9 flying swords came from the ruins of immortality and had been refined by Jiang Tian several times. They could be considered supreme-grade numinous treasures, and each of them was very powerful. The meteorite was made of meteoric iron and was the heaviest. It rushed to the front and forcefully split a hall apart with a clang. Many of the grand formations and restrictions in the hall shone brightly and then dimmed. Runes were broken, and bricks were sent flying. The rest of the flying swords swarmed over like streaks of green rainbows piercing through the sun. The Spring Thunder Sword instantly shot out tens of thousands of lightning bolts, and the exalted immortals were electrocuted into ashes. Their bodies exploded, and they died. The other flying swords were not willing to be left behind. They brought along rainbow-like sword lights and danced wildly in the air. Sword chi was eerie, like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Every sword slash brought about more than 10 waves of blood that soared into the sky, representing the death of more than 10 exalted immortals. The Imperial Wind Sword was the fastest. It rushed like a meteor toward the fleeing exalted immortals, killing one with each slash. Blood and flesh flew everywhere, and screams echoed in the sky. In an instant, hundreds of exalted immortals were defeated. The miserable cries and screams shook the heavens and earth as experts fell like rain. No Dharma treasure, divine ability, true essence, or mountain protection formation could escape the sharpness of Jiang Tian's flying swords. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Tian had killed 300 exalted immortals. Every time he slashed out, blood flowed like a river, and corpses were everywhere. Even the cold-hearted Lady Desireless turned pale, and cold sweat covered her back. At this moment, she was in a daze, and her tall body was trembling. She couldn't help but think of Jiang Tian's words in front of Jadewell Peak. "You should be grateful that I ran away today." At first, she thought that Jiang Tian was just being stubborn and bluffing. Now, she realized that Jiang Tian was not exaggerating at all. It could be said that Jiang Tian's current combat strength could completely crush a fake core cultivator. If she went up, she wouldn't be able to last more than 3 rounds. Could this be his true strength? Is this his trump card? Fairy Miao Yi stood on her flying sword and watched from a few miles away with Ding Lingdeng. She was dumbstruck. Big Brother Jiang is too awesome. He could definitely compete with Li Longyuan. My father can be saved. After Ding Lingdeng recovered from her shock, her face was filled with excitement as she cheered. Still not coming out to die? Bald thief, Li Longyuan. Jiang Tian patted the sky-devouring demonic gourd again. Whoosh, whoosh. Another 9,000 flying swords shot out. The flying swords were densely packed and blotted out the sky as they charged towards the Green Hill Palace. Each of these flying swords swallowed and spat out sharp sword energy, vast true essence. The sword radiance was like a monstrous wave, like a mountain toppling over, like a tsunami. Nothing could stop it. If the attack landed on the main hall of Qingqiu, judging from the momentum alone, the hall would definitely collapse. Not many people would survive. At that moment, a cold snort came from the main hall of Qingqiu. Suddenly, Jiang Tian's flying swords seemed to have encountered an invisible barrier. They hovered in the air and could not advance at all. Then, the barrier shook and the flying swords flew back towards Jiang Tian. "Ha, Li Longyuan, are you finally coming out?" Jiang Tian laughed and waved his hand. The flying swords were like swimming fish, entering the sky-devouring demonic gourd in the blink of an eye. Li Longyuan is coming out. In that instant, the many people that were killed by Jiang Tian to the point of crying for their parents all revealed expressions of wild joy. That cold snort alone could block Jiang Tian's flying swords. Li Longyuan was indeed Li Longyuan. At that moment, a figure rose into the sky from the main hall of Qingqiu. How impressive! Li Longyuan's robes fluttered as he walked with his hands behind his back. He looked down at Jiang Tian and snorted. "I thought that I wouldn't have to do it myself today. It would be good for my disciples to gain some experience." Originally, he had plundered the stellar sky domain and made it hard for the people to make a living. The middle and lower class cultivators and commoners complained. This time, he let the 9 prodigies, the feather uniform guards, and the various sect masters take action to show the results of his years of tyranny to the stellar sky domain. "I've nurtured so many elites. Any one of them can kill the number 1 person in the Earth domain. In the future, the stellar sky domain will have a bright future. It's just a matter of time before we become a 3rd-grade hidden sect." Who would have thought that Jiang Tian would keep breaking new records? Annihilating the feather uniform guards, killing Zhou Yunkai, suppressing the 8 prodigies, suppressing 2 fake elixir core sect masters, and killing 300 exalted immortals with 1 sword. He was invincible. Anyone who stood in his way died. How terrifying! The stellar sky domain had suffered heavy losses. If this carried on, who knew how many more people Jiang Tian would kill? At that moment, Li Longyuan had no choice but to come out. From the looks of it, it was difficult for the others to be Jiang Tian's match. Li Longyuan looked at Jiang Tian carefully. He actually looked surprised. I didn't expect you to be so powerful at such a young age. You're qualified for me to take action. You're indeed talented. You're indeed the number one person in the Earth domain. You can still have such a cultivation level in a place without spirit energy. If you wait 100 years, I might not be your match. Suddenly, he looked at Jiang Tian with disdain and sighed. What a pity. You're too eager. You're only at the fake core realm now, and you want to challenge me. Today, I'll turn you into ashes. You talk too much. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold. He was about to attack. Shen Tij also stepped out from the main hall and flew behind Li Longyuan. He sneered. Kong Teichu, you're just an ant from the wasteland Earth domain. You've learned some unorthodox skills by chance, but you want to challenge the heavenly star small world. You're really overconfident. He held a sky piercer in his hand and pointed at Jiang Tian. He mocked. Huh, you think the number one person in the Earth domain is so great? Actually, it's just a wasteland. An ant will always be an ant, and a barbarian will always be a barbarian. You're just a slightly bigger ant. You're walking right into a trap. Yi Tianren stepped out from the crowd and shouted, You're also from the ancient Earth domain. Earth is your ancestral land and hometown. What right do you have to mock and despise us? He had always hated the so-called hidden sect world and those high and mighty immortals. At that moment he felt better. The relationship between Earth and the hidden sect world was very simple. For example, it was like a worker leaving his hometown with all the resources and financial support from his family to develop a little in the city. Now that the worker was rich and prosperous, he despised his hometown for being poor and backward. He even restricted the development of his hometown and wanted to annex his hometown to make it his own private property. I'm an ant? Ha, no, today, I'm going to tear you to pieces. Jiang Tian shouted. Kong Teichu, the battle just now was just a test for you. It's just an appetizer. Today's battle has just begun. Shen Tij's armor was bright and his red battle robe fluttered. He was like a peerless general. At that moment, his face was full of anger. He stepped into the air and smashed the sky piercer in his hand toward Jiang Tian. The sky piercer was like a horned dragon. Its long shaft was densely covered with dragon scales. The small branches on the sky piercer were like dragon claws and sharp like a dragon's head. The moment the sky piercer smashed down, an azure dragon rushed into the sky. It was hundreds of meters long. It stretched out its huge claws and grabbed toward Jiang Tian. That Shen Tij's roar was like rolling thunder. His dantian shone with endless green light, spreading a huge halo hundreds of meters around him. It made him look like a god. What? Shen Tij actually broke through to the golden core realm. Master Ashenpine stared at his dantian. His expression changed drastically as he exclaimed. Shen Tij was once Li Longyuan's personal disciple. 100 years ago, he was Li Longyuan's right-hand man. He helped Li Longyuan conquer various major sects and shocked the entire stellar sky domain. He achieved immortal achievements and made great contributions. However, he had been stuck at the pseudo-core realm. Although he went into seclusion many times, he didn't improve for hundreds of years. He didn't expect to break through to the golden core realm recently. Yes, you didn't expect it, right? I went into seclusion for 20 years and finally stepped into the first stage of the golden core realm. Shen Tij had been hiding his cultivation all this time. Now he finally revealed it. At this time, he was simply full of ambition and pride. He roared proudly. Kong Teichu, today, I will kill you, the number one person on earth, to establish the cornerstone of my supreme immortal path. Shen Tij broke through to the golden core realm. Miyu was shocked. Shen Tij's combat power had already surpassed his. He sighed and said, This sky piercer was refined by a golden core realm expert of the Stellar Sky Palace using a true dragon's soul and grand unity gold. For hundreds of years, it was fed and nourished by countless souls that died tragically. It took 100 years to refine this immortal artifact. Master Ashenpine also couldn't believe it. Previously, Shen Tij couldn't activate this immortal artifact when he was at the pseudo-core realm. Now, he finally burst out with all his combat power. Golden Core. The Stellar Sky Palace actually released a second Golden Core. The tens of thousands of people present were shocked and looked at Shen Tij with admiration and envy. Shen Tij actually broke through to the Golden Core realm. But Xiao Yingluo, Ding Lingdang and Fairy Miao Yi were deeply nervous. The strongest opponent Jiang Tian had faced before was Master Ashenpine. But Master Ashenpine was only at the pseudo-core realm. It was just that the structure of the Golden Core was not solid enough and was between the Foundation Establishment realm and the Golden Core realm. As for Golden Core realm experts, their true essence was compressed to the extreme and formed into a solid Golden Core. Their true essence was 10 times more vast, their physical body was 10 times more tyrannical, and their combat power was 10 times more powerful. This was equivalent to 10 Master Ashenpines, 10 Sect Masters or City Lords, attacking Jiang Tian together. What's more, he also had an immortal artifact refined by a Golden Core realm expert. Shen Tij, you didn't waste my hundreds of years of hard teaching. You didn't waste my hard work in collecting cultivation resources. Even Li Longyuan showed some approval. The Azure Mystic Sect Taoist was his son, so he naturally doted on him the most. But Shen Tij was his proudest disciple. He had already received 80% of his true teachings. Coupled with the suppression of the immortal artifact, Kang Teichu will definitely die. Li Longyuan's face was full of mockery as he made the final decision. He was too lazy to watch anymore. With a contemptuous look, he flicked his sleeves and turned to walk into the Green Hill Palace. Chapter 955. At this moment, although the strength that Jiang Tian displayed was very strong, his cultivation was definitely not at the Golden Core level. That was because the Dantian of a Golden Core cultivator was not like that at all. When a Golden Core cultivator entered the False Core stage and began to condense a Golden Core, they would start polishing their Essence Core. Once it was condensed to the extreme, it would trigger lightning tribulations and even many other tribulations. After continuous tempering and going through countless difficulties and dangers, they would finally compress their true core into a solid state and condense a Golden Core. The Dantian of a Golden Core cultivator was as vast as the ocean, as heavy as a mountain, and as solid as a divine metal. Therefore, Jiang Tian could only be a False Core cultivator. A False Core cultivator facing a Golden Core cultivator was like a 3-year-old baby facing a prehistoric giant, completely vulnerable. Moreover, he had an immortal item. At this moment, not many people thought that Jiang Tian would be a match for Shen Tij. Immortal item? Not good enough. In the field, Jiang Tian sneered. Of course, the heavenly halberd was good, but it was only a superior grade spiritual treasure. It was still far from being a real immortal item. One had to know that a real immortal item was usually refined with the blood of a cultivator who had gone through a tribulation. How could a Dharma treasure refined by a Golden Core cultivator be considered an immortal item? It could only be said that the people of the Heavenly Star Small World were too short-sighted. It's enough to kill you. Shen Tij's eyes were as deep as the stars, and his black hair flew like a waterfall. His battle intent surged like a tide as he stepped forward, the heavenly halberd aimed at Jiang Tian's chest. The true dragon's shadow on the heavenly halberd was very condensed, as if it was real. As it bared its fangs and brandished its claws, lightning flashed. These lightning bolts were formed by vengeful spirits, mixed with true core and energy. A single lightning bolt could kill a late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. Shen Tij's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he crossed hundreds of meters and arrived in front of Jiang Tian. He wanted to pierce Jiang Tian's chest with his heavenly halberd, destroy his physical body, and refine his soul. Get lost. You are not qualified to fight with me. Jiang Tian's eyes were full of contempt and coldness. When the heavenly halberd was close to him, he flicked his finger. This kid is too arrogant. That's right. This is an immortal item, and it's even activated by a Gold Core expert. Even a Gold Core expert wouldn't dare to fight it head-on. Many people present exclaimed in surprise and shook their heads secretly. There was disdain on their faces, thinking that Jiang Tian was too arrogant. But in the next moment, everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Their expressions turned into complete shock and disbelief. Jiang Tian flicked his finger, and a vast amount of true essence shot out like a massive pillar, piercing through the skies. Bang! Bam! The true dragon's shadow was shattered, and the sky piercer exploded in the air as if it was made of tofu. The remaining power of the golden finger beam did not diminish. Like a high-speed train, it slammed heavily into Shen Tij's chest. How is this possible? Shen Tij cried out in alarm. His face was filled with horror. He continuously stepped on the air and retreated like a shooting star. Block! Block! As he roared, he activated many protective divine powers and Dharma treasures, trying to block Jiang Tian's finger beam. However, Jiang Tian's finger beam was no longer what it used to be. It was extremely powerful, as heavy as a mountain, and its speed far exceeded the speed of sound. Bang bang bang. Muffled sounds exploded like thunder. Earth-shattering explosions set off billowing air waves that spread in all directions. Under Jiang Tian's finger beam, Shen Tij's many protective Dharma treasures and divine powers were shattered one after another like paper. Shen Tij's face was filled with pain. His body shook violently and he was about to die in the next second. At that critical moment, a strangely shaped Dharma treasure appeared and blocked Jiang Tian's finger beam. Even so, Shen Tij was still sent flying a few hundred meters away, crashing into a few giant pillars of the Green Hill Palace and rolling into the palace. The entire place was dead silent. The vast Green Hill Mountain, which had a radius of more than 10 miles, was so silent that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. The tens of thousands of people present were dumbfounded. Nobody could say a word. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian, who was standing in the air, in confusion, shock, fear, and disbelief, as if they were looking at a fiend god. He defeated a golden core cultivator with one finger. And he's a golden core cultivator with a supreme deity artifact. Kong Teichu must have surpassed the golden core cultivator level. Only after a full 5 seconds did everyone come back to their senses. They began to whisper to each other and discuss animatedly. Everyone's evaluation of Jiang Tian was crazily refreshed again. They were so shocked that they were almost numb. The spirit chi on earth has dried up and the inheritances have been cut off. Since when did such a terrifying being appear? Besides, he's not even 30 years old yet. What level will he be at in another 10 or 100 years? Is Miayu blind? When did he reach the second level of the foundation establishment level? Everyone's hearts were in turmoil and their bodies shook violently. Everyone was in disbelief, as if they had seen a ghost. They kept complaining about Miayu. I've really misjudged him. His chi concealment technique is too amazing. Miayu finally understood and his face was red with embarrassment. Defeating a golden core cultivator with one finger. That was clearly the strength of a cultivator above the golden core cultivator level, and it was already a level that the energy explosion pill could not push to. Previously, Jiang Tian's performance at the second level of the foundation establishment level could only be one reason. That was Jiang Tian's chi concealment technique was amazing, or his true essence was unbelievably dense. At this time, everyone realized that whether Jiang Tian was a golden core cultivator or not, he had the strength to kill a golden core cultivator. That was too terrifying. Countless people were so scared that their souls were leaving their bodies and they were trembling. Bastard! I'm going to cut you into pieces. Shen Tij's heart protection mirror was broken. His body was covered in blood, his hair was disheveled and his handsome face was covered in soot. He rushed out of the Green Hill Palace again, gritting his teeth and glaring at Jiang Tian with hatred. He could not stand such a defeat. He had finally broken through to the golden core cultivator level, and he wanted to kill Jiang Tian and make a name for himself. However, Jiang Tian broke his immortal artifact and sent him flying a few hundred meters away like a dead dog. He had become a complete joke. Shen Tij, step back. Today, I will personally kill this bastard. Li Longyuan kept his immortal artifact. It was a star tree that was shining brightly. There were 7 branches on it, and at the top of each branch was a ball that looked like a star. It was arranged according to the order of the Big Dipper and emitted thousands of rays of light. It had an aura that could command the galaxy. The Big Dipper tree was used by the Saint Sect's master in the past. It was the immortal artifact that suppressed the Golden Core exalted immortals and intimidated the Stellar Sky domain. I didn't expect Li Longyuan to use such an immortal artifact just to kill this ant from Earth. Master Ashenpine's face revealed a touch of shock. His eyes were burning with greed and envy as he swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva. Then, he regained his sense of superiority and looked at Jiang Tian proudly. Kong Teichu, Palace Master Li is going to personally attack you with such a powerful immortal artifact. This time, you are dead. It is no exaggeration to say that killing you is like killing a chicken. Seeing that Li Longyuan was going to attack, Seng Hongyuan, Shen Tij, Chu Yonghui and the others all heaved a long sigh of relief. Master, please help us suppress this evil. Master is a man of great talent and vision. He will unite the Heavenly Star Realm and kill Kong Teichu like killing a chicken. Cultivator from Earth is like an insect. He can't even survive 1 or 2 moves in front of the Palace Master. Many disciples of the Starry Sky Palace were shocked. Then, they bowed deeply to Li Longyuan, flattering him like a tide, and flattery flew everywhere. Master has finally made a move. Master is our great savior. Some were even so excited that tears streamed down their faces and wailed loudly. The Heavenly Star Small World had formed a structure similar to a political regime, and the Heavenly Star Palace was like a court. Li Longyuan was mean and ungrateful. If one wanted to do well in the Heavenly Star Palace, flattery was the basic skill. But at the same time, Li Longyuan was indeed an amazing person. He was the first powerhouse to break through to the Golden Core realm after the collapse of many formations and the imbalance of spirit chi. He was also very good at personal worship, so these disciples respected him as if he was a god. Kong Teichu, even if you are a Golden Core realm cultivator, I'm afraid you are only at the 1st or 2nd level. How can you be a match for Palace Master Li? Seng Hongyuan was originally so scared by Jiang Tian that he did not dare to show his face, but at this moment he regained his arrogance. Kong Teichu, Senior Li has made a move. Today you are dead. At the edge of the square, Chu Yonghui also laughed gloatingly. Jiang Tian's combat power was indeed amazing. If Li Longyuan cherished his reputation and did not make a move, everyone would be in big trouble today. That was because everyone could tell that Jiang Tian was truly enraged. He was about to unleash a massacre. It was simply a bloody massacre. But so what? Once Li Longyuan made a move, everything would change. After all, he was a 3rd-stage Golden Core realm powerhouse. Chu Yonghui gritted his teeth and snorted coldly. Do you really think there is no one in the Heavenly Star domain? Do you really think that you, an ant from the Earth domain, can do whatever you want here? Chu Yonghui looked up to the sky and laughed. Deep in his eyes, there was a madness of revenge. Not only him, but everyone present was relieved and restored their previous disdain and contempt for Jiang Tian. Indeed, Kong Teichu was very strong. Especially since he could rise in this wasteland where spirit chi was scarce, cultivate to the Golden Core realm, and refine the demonic aura in his body. He could be called a genius that was hard to come by in 1,000 years. However, the difference in cultivation level was huge. It was not something that could be made up with talent. After all, Li Longyuan had cultivated for hundreds of years and had already stepped into the 3rd-stage Golden Core realm. Even if Jiang Tian was at the perfected 2nd-stage Golden Core realm, he was no match for him. Noisy! Jiang Tian flicked his finger. With a snap, a finger light pierced through. Chu Yonghui's head exploded, and red and white matter scattered. The headless corpse fell to the ground. You really think I can't kill you? It's just that I had forgotten about you, but your roar reminded me. Jiang Tian chuckled leisurely. Originally, he did not kill the Chu father and daughter because he wanted to subdue the great demon, Bai Zhe. Now that he had achieved his goal, why keep them alive? Father, you died so miserably. Chu Yunxiu was stunned. Then, she hugged her father's headless corpse and burst into tears. However, she did not dare to insult Jiang Tian. Because Jiang Tian was just like Jiang Tian said. It was not that Jiang Tian could not kill them. It was just that they were too weak, and Jiang Tian was too lazy to pay attention to them. Is it very uncomfortable? Then I will set you free. You can die too. Jiang Tian flicked his finger, and another finger light shot toward Chu Yunxiu. Chapter 956. Kong Teichu, do you think I don't exist? Li Longyuan yelled. He pointed the star tree in his hand, and a dazzling starlight burst out, deflecting Jiang Tian's finger light. Boom! The golden finger light hit the ground and exploded. The life and death field shook violently, creating a huge pit with a radius of 100 meters. Jijijiji. Chu Yunxiu was so scared that she couldn't even cry. She covered her mouth and didn't dare to speak. Jjjjjj. At this time, she was sweating profusely. Her teeth were chattering like a machine gun, and her whole body was trembling. If that finger beam had landed on his body, he would have been reduced to ashes. Come here. I won't allow you to kill people. Li Longyuan shouted with a cold look in his eyes. The stellar sky domain was his world. He was like an emperor. The people here were his subjects. He could kill them, but he would never allow Jiang Tian to do so. Tisk, you're just a tyrant, a lone wolf. Why are you pretending to be a wise saint? But Jiang Tian smiled disdainfully. Then he glanced at the crowd and mocked. It's too early for you to be happy. Do you really think I'm not Li Longyuan's opponent? Too early for you to be happy? Li Longyuan was furious. He sneered. Kong Teichu, you're indeed a talented person. You're the most talented person in the Earth domain in the past 1,000 years. If you wait another 10 years, you might be able to surpass me, Li Longyuan. He looked at Jiang Tian with disdain. I've said it before. You shouldn't have provoked the heavenly star small world when your cultivation was still low. That's the same as offending us cultivators. Now, I'll kill you like killing a chicken. Today, I'll cut you into pieces and refine your soul for 100 years. I'll tell the Earth domain the consequences of looking down on the stellar sky domain. I'll also avenge my beloved son who died tragically. As soon as he finished speaking, his killing intent soared to the heavens. The Big Dipper tree in his hand was like a divine tree that opened up Hongmeng and supported the myriad of worlds, and it emitted a myriad of clear radiances. Immediately, the vast starry sky became filled with resplendent stars. The mysterious phenomenon of the Big Dipper appeared behind him. The ripple-like starlight seemed bright and peaceful, but it contained endless murderous intent as it rushed towards Jiang Tian. Anomalies were existences that far surpassed sword moves, sword intent, and sword gleams. Some were strange beasts, some were divine objects, some were mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas, some were stars, but they were extremely difficult to cultivate. The might of the Big Dipper phenomenon was unfathomable. 300 years ago, Li Longyuan had once utilized this phenomenon to annihilate a myriad of cultivators and greater demons. He was invincible and suppressed the heavenly star small world, and no one could stand against him. This, the first move, is a fatal blow. When Nieyu saw this, his expression changed drastically in disbelief. Too ruthless. Ding Lai's face turned pale and his heart skipped a beat. He clenched his fists and was sweating for Jiang Tian. The Big Dipper phenomenon was passed down from the sect master of the heavenly god. But many people thought that the sect master of the heavenly god might not be the real creator, but an ancient grand cultivator. This cultivation art was definitely worthy of its reputation. It was said that when this cultivation art was cultivated to the extreme, it could tear apart the sky and earth, destroy mountains, and even destroy giant cities. In the past few hundred years, countless greater demons, and sect masters were no match for it. They were easily killed, destroyed, or even ground to dust. Ding Lai once saw with his own eyes that Li Longyuan used only a ray of starlight to kill a traitorous fake core overlord. Brother Jiang, be careful. Ding Lingdang also turned pale and shouted from afar, but she was too far away and Jiang Tian might not be able to hear her. Clang, clang, clang. The Big Dipper rotated like planets. It was very real and one could even see the mountains and hills on it. They were as bright as jade and had a gentle glow. Streaks of starlight that were like feathers, steel needles, or shattered crystals were sparkling and translucent. Faint clanging sounds could be heard. Wherever the starlight went, the air twisted and shook as if it were about to be destroyed. Terrifying cracks appeared on the hard ground of the life and death square. They were 1/2 meter wide. The cracks were like spider webs and immediately covered the entire square. Even the huge square bamboo peak shook violently as if it couldn't withstand the pressure. Retreat. Even though they weren't directly under the pressure of the starlight, they were only affected. Shen Tij, Master Ashen Pine and Mia Yu and the other sect masters and city lords felt that their bodies were about to be torn apart. Their divine powers were suppressed and their divine wills were almost destroyed. They felt extremely uncomfortable and quickly retreated to the Green Hill Palace. The starlight shone a few hundred meters in the sky and its terrifying power had already spread to the other mountains. Some Foundation establishment overlords were pierced by a ray of starlight and their bodies immediately exploded, turning into a rain of flesh. In the blink of an eye, the starlight was about to reach Jiang Tian's head and pierce through him. "Huh, you're just a golden core cultivator and you want to create a phenomenon like a nascent soul overlord? How dare you?" It was also at this moment that a wisp of a disdainful smile appeared on the corners of Jiang Tian's mouth as he brazenly attacked. Boom! There was a deafening sound that traveled 10 kilometers. Jiang Tian's true essence exploded and the Xian Water Azure Dragon appeared. Immediately, a 1-kilometer-long Azure Dragon appeared behind Jiang Tian. Azure Dragon's domineering figure was surrounded by streams of black mystical water. Dazzling lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. That area turned into a sea of mystical water and lightning intertwined. Suddenly, a powerful energy spread in all directions. Dust billowed and the earth shook. Everyone couldn't withstand it and they were terrified. What's that? An Azure Dragon? Is it also a kind of phenomenon? Or is it formed by true essence? Everyone felt suffocated. Even the false core overlords couldn't withstand the terrifying energy. Their bones creaked and their organs felt like they were about to be crushed. Faster than words could describe, the gigantic Azure Dragon's scales were thick and dense. Fierce light shot out from his huge eyes. He bared his fangs and brandished his claws. He opened his bloody mouth and roared, abruptly inhaling the starlight. Crack, crack. Under the suction of the Azure Dragon, whether it was the watery starlight, the sharp starlight, or even the 7 planets, they could not withstand a single blow and were instantly shattered. The Azure Dragon swallowed all the starlight and planets like a whale swallowing a cow. How is this possible? Li Longyuan's expression changed drastically, and he was dumbstruck. His body staggered, and he almost fell from the sky. He used his most powerful attack right from the start. He thought he could instantly kill Jiang Tian, but he didn't expect Jiang Tian to transform into the Azure Dragon mystic water body and swallow the phenomenon, which took him by surprise. The entire place was dead silent. Everyone was dumbfounded and couldn't believe what they were hearing. This Azure Dragon was simply too terrifying. It could destroy the starlight and swallow the Big Dipper phenomenon. Jiang Tian cast a spell and cast his Abhijna. The green dragon mystic water divine body immediately attacked violently, unleashing endless power. Boom! The black water Azure Dragon's 10-meter-long giant claw covered the sky as it slammed down heavily at Li Longyuan, accompanied by crackling lightning and black water. "You can't kill me!" Li Longyuan shouted. The Big Dipper tree in his hand let out waves of starlight and rose into the sky with endless power. It seemed to be able to lift up the sky. Clang! The scaly Azure Dragon's claw hit the Big Dipper tree and a destructive power was instantly unleashed. The vast black water and lightning forcefully shattered and annihilated the space within a radius of several hundred meters, forming a vacuum. Violent air currents poured in from all directions. Tsing Hongyuan, Shintij, Mieu and Master Ashen Pine immediately flew in as if they were attracted by a black hole. They used many divine powers and secret arts, but they were only able to stabilize themselves after flying for more than 10 meters. However, some of the cultivators with lower cultivation bases were not so lucky. After being sucked into that space, they were crushed and torn to pieces. The Big Dipper tree floated in the air and shook violently. After 3 breaths, it suddenly let out a crisp sound and many terrifying cracks appeared. Then it collapsed. There was a loud rumble. The Azure Dragon's giant claw slammed down, shattering Li Longyuan's protective astral wind. Li Longyuan fell from a height of hundreds of meters and heavily smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater with a radius of 10 meters. His body, which was said to be immortal for 1,000 years, was torn and bleeding. In the pit, his robe was torn and his hair was messy. He kept coughing up blood and moaning. He was suppressed by the Azure Dragon's mystic water and lightning. He couldn't even move his fingers, let alone resist. What? Li Longyuan lost. Mieu, Master Ashen Pine, Shintij, Tsing Hongyuan and the other sect and city lords were all dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it. Li Longyuan couldn't even withstand one attack from a real deity artifact? What is Kong Teichu's level? Everyone was dumbfounded. A chill rose from the bottom of their hearts and went up their spines to the top of their heads. They felt as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. No matter what level he is at, his combat power is at least at the mid-stage of the Golden Core level. Miu's eyes almost popped out. His scalp was numb and his head was buzzing. It was about to explode. Today, her impression of Jiang Tian was refreshed by the cruel reality again and again. From a cripple who had lost all his cultivation to the fake core level, then to the golden core level, then to the mid-stage of the golden core level, he had advanced like a hurricane. It was as if there was no end to it. Now, she even had the feeling of looking up at a tall mountain and looking down at a bottomless abyss that was unfathomable and unable to see through Jiang Tian. Chu Yunxiu was also dumbfounded. Her beautiful eyes almost popped out. Her pretty face was full of disbelief. She only felt that Jiang Tian was like an ancient giant god who could tear the sky apart with one hand and smash the stellar sky continent into pieces with one punch. Li Longyuan, didn't you say that you could kill me like killing a chicken? Aren't you very strong? Come. Get up and fight with me. Jiang Tian put the Azure Dragon Mystic Water Divine Body back into his energy center and looked down at Li Longyuan with disdain. Chapter 957. Li Longyuan was corroded by the black water and lightning. His dantian, meridians, and bones were all damaged. At this moment, his entire body was covered in blood and he was gasping for breath. He could only inhale and not exhale. Only his eyes were still filled with resentment. Master Ashen Pine, didn't you want him to kill me? Come and kill me. Jiang Tian looked at Master Ashen Pine and sneered. Master Ashen Pine was so scared that his whole body trembled. He was like a little white rabbit meeting a fierce tiger. Now he wanted Li Longyuan to kill Jiang Tian? What kind of joke was this? Li Longyuan couldn't even protect himself. Master Ashen Pine didn't know whether to kneel and admit defeat to Jiang Tian or fight to the death with Jiang Tian. Slap. Suddenly, Jiang Tian raised his hand and slapped Master Ashen Pine's face. Master Ashen Pine was sent flying dozens of meters away and fell heavily on the ground. He lay there like a dead dog and couldn't get up. So what if I killed Taoist Graphite? So what if I destroyed your giant sword sect and killed your sect master? Jiang Tian raised his hand and a powerful suction force pulled Master Ashen Pine over and grabbed his throat. Immortal Master Jiang, don't kill me. My giant sword sect is willing to submit. Master Ashen Pine sensed Jiang Tian's cold killing intent and couldn't help but be scared out of his wits. He struggled futilely and screamed miserably. Begging for mercy? Jiang Tian's eyes were full of contempt. Then his handsome face turned cold and he said coldly, "What were you doing earlier? It's too late." The There was a crisp sound. Jiang Tian directly crushed his neck. Then, purple lightning shot out from Jiang Tian's eyes. Master Ashenpine's head and Dan Tian exploded. A violent aura burst out uncontrollably. Blood, broken bones, and ashes scattered all over Chu Yunxiu. The whole place was dead silent. It was extremely quiet. There were tens of thousands of cultivators on Qingqiu Mountain, but there wasn't even the slightest sound. At this moment, everyone was terrified, trembling, and sweating profusely. They were flabbergasted, yet they couldn't say a single word. The giant sword sect leader, Master Ashenpine. He was at the grand completion pseudo-pill realm, but he was crushed to death by Jiang Tian with a raise of his hand. He did not even have the strength to resist. Demon God. A peerless demon. It was too terrifying. It was a complete massacre, without any mercy. Moreover, his strength was too strong. His cultivation was simply unfathomable. Heavenly Star's immortal cultivators and sect masters, what's so great about them? Isn't it just a matter of raising a hand to kill him? Jiang Tian killed the sect leader as if he were killing a chick. He casually flicked the non-existent ashes on his fingers. Immortal Master Jiang, don't kill me. Jiang Tian didn't intend to kill anyone when he flicked his finger, but Seng Hongyuan was so scared that his legs went soft. Plop. He knelt on the ground. He thought that Jiang Tian was going to use his finger beam again. Jiang Tian couldn't be bothered with him. Instead, he walked to the side of the giant pit, raised his hand, and grabbed Li Longyuan over. Your Heavenly Star small world is not to be offended? Jiang Tian asked with a smile. Kongyu. Li Longyuan glared at Jiang Tian, his hatred overflowing to the heavens. His son, Li Qingxian, had died in the hands of Jiang Tian. However, not only did he not kill Jiang Tian to avenge his son, but he was also defeated, humiliated, and trampled on by Jiang Tian in an instant. This made him hate Jiang Tian to the core. Cheap mouth. Do you think you have the right to call my name? Slap. Jiang Tian slapped Li Longyuan's face. Blood spurted out from his nose, and he shook his head and tail. Jiang Tian smiled and said, Tell me, Kong Teichu. So what if I killed your son and offended your Heavenly Star domain? Slap. Jiang Tian slapped Li Longyuan again. Li Longyuan's face was smashed, and his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. He asked, I, Kong Teichu, am an ant in the wasteland? You are a high and mighty immortal cultivator? So what if I hit you now? Slap. I want to humiliate you and bully you. So what? Every time Jiang Tian asked a question, he would slap Li Longyuan. After asking 10 questions, he slapped Li Longyuan 10 times. Li Longyuan's head had turned into a bloody gourd. His cheekbones were broken, and he looked extremely miserable. Slap. Finally, Jiang Tian smashed Li Longyuan onto the ground like a rag. Then, he stepped on Li Longyuan's face and looked around. He asked coldly, This is the number one person in Heavenly Star domain? He pointed at Li Longyuan, who was under his feet, and looked at the crowd. He mocked, This is what you are counting on? The entire place was dead silent. Everyone lowered their heads in fear. Their bodies were trembling, and they did not dare to make a sound. Li Longyuan, the number one person in Heavenly Star domain. Jiang Tian looked at Li Longyuan mockingly and said disdainfully, May I ask where your immortal techniques and mystical abilities are? Where is your vast divine senses? Where is your numinous treasure immortal artifact? Use it. Li Longyuan looked at Jiang Tian with hatred and did not say a word. You don't agree? Jiang Tian laughed. You have already used your strongest move, and you still can't kill me. Do you think you are my match? Kong Teichu. I am indeed not your match. Li Longyuan laughed sinisterly. However, do you think the foundation of Heavenly Star Small World is so simple? Do you think I am the only golden core cultivator? He laughed wildly and roared, You are wrong. You're wrong. You'd better let me go or you'll regret it, Jiang Taichu. As soon as he said this, the entire place was dead silent. Many people were confused and shocked. Were there other golden core cultivators in Heavenly Star Small World? However, Jiang Tian was not surprised in the slightest. He threw Li Longyuan to the side and calmly looked towards the north, saying indifferently, "Old bastard, I have killed so many of your disciples and stepped on your descendants under my feet. You still won't come out? Do you want me to destroy your Heavenly Star Palace before you come out?" In the depths of the ancestral land of the Heavenly Star Palace, 100 kilometers away, the ancient Taoist temple with green bricks and green tiles suddenly bloomed with endless bright light. Thunder rumbled and starlight filled the air. Suddenly, there were thousands of auspicious lights. At this time, the ancient Taoist temple seemed to have come alive. Every blade of grass and every tree was full of vitality. Countless runes appeared on every brick and stone like a waterfall. Many golden runes surged like tides and gathered together to form a Tai Chi yin-yang fish. It seemed to be a door of time and space. Kong Te Chu, I have been sleeping for hundreds of years and didn't want to come out. I didn't expect you to force me to come out. An old voice came from the door of time. It sounded ancient and distant, as if it had traveled through thousands of years. The voice was 100 miles away, but strangely, it exceeded the speed of sound and reached Fang Zhu Peak in the blink of an eye. It can't be him, right? Is he still alive? When some of the older generation figures heard this voice, their expressions changed drastically. Is the legend true? They seemed to have thought of something and there was endless fear in their eyes, as if they had seen a ghost. Who is this? Is he also a golden core overlord? How can there be a golden core cultivator in our world? However, there were even more people who asked with puzzled expressions. In the stellar sky domain, many arrays were destroyed thousands of years ago, and the spirit chi was seriously out of control. The most abundant spirit chi was concentrated in the Red Thunder Mountain, but it was mixed with the demonic miasma aura and couldn't be absorbed. In other regions, the spirit chi was thin and was only 1/10 of what it was before. Therefore, only one golden core overlord, Li Longyuan, appeared here a few hundred years ago. The second golden core cultivator was Shun Tij. However, both of them were created with the resources of the entire small world. There was no other golden core cultivator. At this time, Li Longyuan stood up shakily, with a crazy smile on his face, and shouted loudly, "Brotherly! This is the Yuan Li family's other golden core cultivator 1,000 years ago, the son of Yuan Tiangeng, the sect master of our stellar sky palace, Yuan Zihua. Yuan Zihua, great demon Bai Zei's personal disciple. Didn't he already die? He's still alive." Lady Annihilation Desire suddenly realized who this person was, but her face was full of confusion and shock. Condensing blood and stopping lifespan. Li Longyuan said proudly and coldly, "He has always been alive. He just condensed his blood and stopped his lifespan. Don't you understand why?" Li Longyuan looked around and smiled. "Because we need more than 10 golden core cultivators to coexist in the world if we want to break through to the level 3 hidden cultivation sects. However, golden core cultivators can live up to 500 years old at most. They can't live for 1,000 years. Therefore, under the scheme of Great Demon Bai Zei, 3 golden core cultivators chose to condense their blood and go into hibernation hundreds of years ago. Our plan is to push out another 10 golden cores before this world collapses. At that time, there will be more than 10 golden cores coexisting, creating a glorious era and advancing to a level 3-dimensional small world. At that time, we can occupy other dimensional worlds and obtain a new place to live. 3 golden core cultivators are in hibernation. Who else is there?" Lady Annihilation Desire and the others exclaimed together. Li Longyuan didn't answer. "Greetings, fellow Taoist." At this moment, from the direction of the demon suppressing temple, another resounding voice rang out. "Kong Te Chu, you're talented and have a profound heritage. You might be able to reach the soul formation level in the future. Why do you want to be enemies with the Heavenly Star Small World?" That area was filled with Buddhist light and golden light. It was 10,000 meters tall. The sound of Buddhist chanting filled the air, and countless auspicious clouds with golden edges gathered from all directions. Disciples of the demon-suppressing temple welcome Master Kuhai out of seclusion. Led by Master Annihilation Desire, many eminent monks of the demon-suppressing temple knelt down and prostrated themselves on the ground. Master Kuhai, another disciple of Great Demon Bai Zai, the ancestral patriarch of the demon-suppressing temple. Lady Annihilation Desire was shocked again. 500 years ago, Great Demon Bai Zai turned into a young Taoist and fought with the demon-suppressing temple. Great Demon Bai Zai killed 3 abbots of Devil Suppression Monastery and hundreds of monks. Heads rolled and blood flowed like a river, almost annihilating Devil Suppression Monastery. But when he saw Master Kuhai's talent and power, he took him in as his disciple and taught him many cultivation arts of the Heavenly God sect. Master Kuhai came so quickly. A beam of golden light shot out from the demon-suppressing temple and flashed across the sky like a comet. In just a few seconds, it had traveled a few hundred kilometers and landed on the square. Master Kuhai was chubby and his ears drooped down to his shoulders. His body was huge, and there were circles of Buddha light shining behind his head. He gave off a feeling of being upright and upright. Why do you have to start a conflict between the two worlds? Master Kuhai put his hands together and smiled. Why don't we shake hands and make peace? Why don't you submit to the Heavenly Star Palace and control Earth on behalf of us? Submit to you? Jiang Tian flicked his sleeves and snickered. Who do you think you are? You want me, Kang Teichu, to submit to you? The Heavenly Star Small World will either submit to me or I'll destroy the entire Heavenly Star Small World. You don't have a third choice. After hearing that, the entire audience was shocked to the extreme. Everyone was flabbergasted and couldn't believe what they were seeing. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.